And welcome to the Arcata Ballpark, where we've got the final week of the Humboldt Crabs season upon us. Hard to believe it already, but we are into our final week of the Humboldt Crabs season, and today they welcome the Berkovich Gold baseball team out of the Bay Area for the first game of a two-game series. And good evening, everybody. I'm Kevin Wyatt. As the Crabs, while they've had a lot of success this year, they really had some issues over the weekend. They really ran into an outstanding team called the Pacific Union Financial Capitalists, dropped 2-3 to them, and currently they find themselves on the season with a 28-15 record. They went 42-9 last season, but 28-15 this year. And they most recently dropped 2-3 to the Pacific Union Financial Capitalists in what was a very competitive series, although two blowouts plus one competitive game among them, each team beating the other by a blowout. So that's how we could say it's competitive, as both teams had their shots at each other, and eventually the Pacific Union Financial Capitalists were able to win. The Crabs losing 11-3 on Sunday. That was after they won 9-0 on Saturday night, and on Friday went to extra innings, and 6-5 was the final score. The Pacific Union Financial Capitalists beating the Humboldt Crabs in that one. So 2 out of 3 was the final score, or 2 out of 3 was the series score, I should say, the Crabs and the Pacific Union Financial Capitalists. As far as the Berkovich Gold baseball team is concerned, well, they're part of an overall academy. They've got the Gold team, as they call it. That's their summer collegiate team. So much like the Crabs, it's made up of college players for the most part at the junior college level, NAIA, as well as NCAA Division 1, 2, and 3. They also have teams 18 and under, 16 and under. So this is a wide-ranging academy, and they're setting up their collegiate team called the Berkovich Gold up, and they have a 15-10 record on the season. However, we could say they have a 15-7 non-Humboldt record, and what I mean by that is up until they made their trip to Humboldt County, they were 15-7, but then got swept by the other summer collegiate team in town, the Humboldt B-52s. So a 3-0 series sweep, including an 11-3 contest yesterday. So the Berkovich Gold team looking to regroup against the Humboldt Crabs, who really, in the second half of the summer, have really caught fire. Really, that road trip was the difference, as the Crabs lost the first 3 games on that road trip, but then won 4 straight after that, dropped a couple over the 4th of July weekend, and then from the 4th of July through a solid couple of weeks, they had an 11-game winning streak. It's been a little more up and down since then, but safe to say, 28-15 record, that's what the Crabs expect themselves to be competitively almost every summer, and they have matched it yet again. Hard to beat that 42-9 team that happened last year. I mean, that was such a talented team that really didn't seem like it was often they lost a game. Well, they lost single-digit games, so that in and of itself was impressive. But 28-15, still a very talented Crabs team that's given the fans a lot of entertainment and taken on some good and beaten some good teams this season. The San Luis Obispo Blues, the Reading Colt 45s, Healdsburg Prune Packers, all those teams, as the Crabs taking on tough competition, and through all that have a 28-15 record. We have the starting lineups for you. And first for the visiting Berkovich Gold baseball team, it'll be Luke Huerta leading off at second base, followed by Naeem Knox at center field. He is batting second. The third hitter is Jake Cruz. He's catching. The cleanup hitter, Jackson Roberts, is at first base. In left field is Ryan Probst. He's batting fifth. Sam Weaver's at third, and he's batting sixth. The seventh hitter, Ant McDougal, is the designated hitter. Ryan Tom at right field, and Isaac Cruz, the shortstop, rounds out the starting 9 for the Berkovich Gold baseball team. Taking a look at the Humboldt Crabs, and we'll reintroduce them as they come up to bat in each inning, but David Hamilton leading off at short, followed by Brian Pozos at second base. The third hitter is James Outman. He is in left field. First baseman Jason Newman is hitting cleanup. At third base, Michael Perry's hitting fifth, and the sixth hitter, Newt Johnson, is the designated hitter. Catcher Jacob Thurber hitting seventh. In the 8 hole is Mason Cirillo at center field, and rounding up the starting 9, Mason T-Lander, who is going to be in right field today. So those are the starting lineups for both teams. We're going to take a 2-minute timeout, and we'll be back Right after these messages, you're listening to Humble Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. The Crabgrass Band providing entertainment here at the Arcata Ballpark as they do. About 60% of the games roughly they show up for, and always adds to the atmosphere. And really, not only do they play music to really add to the atmosphere of the game, they heckle the players like no other group of fans really does, and they come up with some creative chants here. So the Crabgrass Band really adding a lot to the experience here at the Arcata Ballpark. And don't forget, we're in our final week of the Crab season, so we've got games tonight through Saturday, all at 7 p.m. involving the Crabs. The Crabs will definitely play a game Sunday at 2, with the possibility of another 6 p.m. game on Sunday involving the Crabs as well. We'll get into that in just a little bit. It is the Humboldt Invitational Tournament Thursday through Sunday, so it'll be a little bit of a different format than what we're used to in the regular season. It'll be 4 teams. It'll be the Crabs, of course. They'll also have the Solano Mudcats, the Auburn Wildcats, and the Alameda Merchants taking part in an end-of-season tournament. Now, we've got the schedule for you for that. The opening game of the tournament Thursday. Again, Thursday is when the tournament starts, so the Crabs and Berkovich will play tonight and tomorrow at 7. And then starting on Thursday, we have the beginning of the tournament. The Auburn Wildcats, Solano Mudcats, squaring off to open the tournament 3 p.m. on Thursday. The Alameda Merchants and the Crabs will face each other on Thursday at 7 p.m. Friday, also be a 3 and 7 o'clock start time. Solano versus the Alameda Merchants at 3 o'clock, and then the Crabs versus the Auburn Wildcats at 7. And then on Sunday, we have the Crabs playing at 2 in one semifinal. The first semifinal will take place at 10, and the championship game at 6. And actually, got ahead of myself. Actually, I started on Friday, so let's start on Thursday one more time, just so I can clarify it. Thursday the 4th will actually be the Alameda Merchants and the Auburn Wildcats, and then the Humboldt Crabs Solano Mudcats at 7. On Friday, it will be Auburn versus Solano with the Alameda and the Crabs at 7. And then on Saturday, as I mentioned, Solano and Alameda, then the Crabs and the Auburn Wildcats, and then the first semifinal at 10 o'clock. And at 2 p.m., it'll be the Crabs and the other semifinal participant that didn't play in the 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. game on Sunday morning. And then the winner of each semifinal will play at 6. So the Crabs have a chance to play one last game at 6 on Sunday. However, it's not guaranteed. If they lose that semifinal game, then it'll be one of the three, or two of the three other teams, I should say, that will be involved in that final, that Humboldt Invitational Tournament final at 6 p.m. On Sunday. And that'll do it for the rest of the season, as the Crabs looking to start or end everything off on a high note, including a big start to the tournament to get themselves as favorable of a seeding as possible to get them in that championship round. Once again, the Crabs 28-15 and not able to quite match that 42-9 team, but how many teams really could? That was almost an all-time great team. So the Crabs 28-15, the Berkovich Gold baseball team 15-10. And that'll be coming up in just a couple of minutes. But first, we will pause for the national anthem. And singing the national anthem will be a frequent guest singing it, Shannon West. Shannon West, as she oftentimes gives a great performance singing the national anthem here at the Arcata Ballpark, as do several other people. We've had some great singers come here and sing the national anthem and do an outstanding job of it. So the Crabs and the Berkovich Gold baseball team ready to get underway, as Crabs in their final week, the final Tuesday of the regular season. Hard to believe seemed like yesterday that the season just began, and then we're already ready to wrap things up. So the Crabs ready to end things on a high note, as the top three batters for the Berkovich Gold, the first three batters to lead off will be Luke Huerta, Naeem Knox, and Jake Cruz, the first three guys. And they'll be going against Ryan Ralston out of the University of Kansas, a Jayhawk out of the Big 12. 6'4", 225-pounder, comes all the way. His hometown is in Kansas, not a West Coast kid who just went there for school. He is a Kansan through and through. The Big 12 greeted him rather rudely. His sophomore season had a 6.33 earned run average, had a 1-0 record. In 13 appearances overall, 21 in the third innings pitched, gave up 19 base hits, and had 21 walks, 15 strikeouts. So command was a little bit of an issue, but for the Crabs, really, has done a better job, as Ralston pitched to a 2.7 ERA here as a Crab. So really taking advantage of what the Crabs have to offer, which is really improving your skills both for your next collegiate season, as well as helping you kind of get ready for any pro ball that they might play in the future. And Ryan Ralston doing a great job of showing what he can do here for the Crabs. 2.7 earned run average. He's made 8 appearances. This is his third start. Has a 1-1 record. Again, that 2.7 earned run average, 23 and a third innings. Has given up 14 base hits, 11 runs, only 7 of those runs are earned. Also has 19 walks and 14 strikeouts and an opposing batting average of only 173. So he's really done a great job and really made his mark on the Crabs this season, as he's looking to get himself ready for Big 12 competition. And that Big 12, it's not an easy conference to play in, one of the toughest Division I baseball conferences out there. And with what he's been doing with the Crabs, he's going to be in a great position to really excel with the Jayhawks. As Luke Huerta, the second baseman, steps in and takes a strike on the outside corner, and it's 0-1 to the Berkovich Gold second baseman. Ragsdale quickly back to work. The next pitch is low and outside, and it is now 1 ball and 1 strike. So it'll be Luke Huerta, Naeem Knox, Jake Cruz, the 1-2-3 hitters to begin the game here, as the next pitch, a breaking ball that stays inside, and it is 2-1. Michael Cowan, our old friend behind the plate, he's been a new umpire this season. He's become one of our favorites, one of our favorite guys to talk to. The next pitch is popped up on the right side of the infield. Calling for it is Jason Newman's going to make the catch, and that's quickly the first out here. 1 away in the top of the first as Huerta pops out to Newman at first. And that'll bring up Naeem Knox. So we're really seeing Ryan Ralston get ahead of hitters here. Again, at Kansas, he really had his command problems, but since the season turned to summer and he got out to Humboldt, really his success has become profound. The first pitch to Knox is going to be a fastball low and outside, ball 1, 1-0. So Cowan behind the plate. We've got Dan Murphy at first base as Ralston quickly back to work. Next pitch is swung on and fouled back, and the count goes even now. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dan Murphy, no relation to the Nationals second baseman and the guy who single-handedly destroyed the Dodgers' playoff hopes last season in that NLDS. But no, Dan Murphy, not related to him. He's at first base, though. The next pitch, a breaking ball inside, and it is 2-1. And at third base, John Swanson, a Humboldt Crabs veteran umpire who has been here several seasons and is here for a lot of the games. So an experienced and highly regarded umpiring crew. It's going to be a chopper up the middle. Going over to his right is Pozos, backhands and makes the throw to first in time, and there's 2 away. So quickly 2 outs here for Austin Ragsdale as he sets down the first 2 Berkovich players in order. And now Jake Cruz coming up to seeing what he can do here to extend this inning. So Cruz up, Ragsdale into the line, and the pitch, a fastball low in the dirt. Ball 1, 1-0. So the Humboldt Crabs continuing to have successful season after successful season. Tyson Fisher, the manager for the Crabs, just recently celebrated his 100th career win as Crabs manager, and he's looking for a whole lot more in the years to come. 1-0 the count as Jake Cruz backs out, asks for time, now takes his warm-up swings in the box. So Ragsdale toes the rubber, rocks, turns, kicks his leg, and the next pitch is going to be lined up the middle for a base hit. So a solid, clean 2-out single for Jake Cruz. And that'll bring up Jackson Roberts, the first baseman. So 1 on and 2 out as Jackson Roberts steps in. There were no numbers or any squeals, for that matter, available on the Berkovich Gold baseball team, so we're not exactly sure what type of speed Cruz has. He's a catcher, so I can't expect him to do a whole lot of running, but we've seen some crazy stuff this year at the Arcata ballpark, that's for sure. First pitch, and it's a bit outside. Ball 1, 1-0. As Ragsdale trying to get the first pitch fastball across, but miss. So 1 ball, no strike to count to Jackson Roberts. Leading off first is Jake Cruz after his single up the middle. The next pitch is a bit low, and it is now 2 balls and no strikes. So after getting ahead of the batters, the first 2, Ragsdale has fallen behind here to the last couple of batters, and Berkovich trying to see if they can take advantage of that. A 1-hopper to short. Nice pick at short by David Hamilton. Underhands it to second in time, and that'll end the inning. So David Hamilton once again showing his great defense at short. Gets the force out to end the inning, and the Berkovich Gold baseball team retired. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 person left as we go to the bottom of the first inning. It is the Berkovich Gold baseball team, nothing. The Crabs coming up. You're listening to Humboldt Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. As the Crabgrass Band continues to entertain the crowd, we go to the bottom of the first inning as it is no score, although the Berkovich Gold got a base hit with 2 outs. Otherwise, they were unable to inflict any more damage as the Humboldt Crabs now getting their first hacks at it. And once again, the Crabs starting lineup, David Hamilton at short, followed by Brian Pozos, the second baseman, and James Outman, the left fielder. Jason Newman hitting cleanup at first base, Michael Perry, the fifth batter, at third, and the DH, New Johnson, is hitting sixth. Jacob Thurber, the catcher's hitting seventh. In the eighth spot is Mason Sorello. He's in center field. And right fielder Mason Thielander rounds out the starting 9 for the Humboldt Crabs as they take on, and we haven't gotten any information on him, but Xavier Iglesias, the starting pitcher for Berkovich Gold, as he's going to get his first look at the Humboldt Crabs and David Hamilton. So Hamilton stepping in, and Hamilton, I mean, how much has he impressed us this season? Not even a college player yet. It's just a few months ago he was going to his senior prom and playing high school baseball. Now he's ready to jump headfirst into the Big 12 at the University of Texas. Originally comes from San Marcos, Texas, so a Texan through and through, as the first pitch from Iglesias is outside, a fastball, and it's 1-0. Hamilton was actually a 28th round draft pick by the Los Angeles Angels, as Hamilton pops it up left side of the infield, and going over making the catch is Isaac Cruz, the shortstop, and that's the first out. So Hamilton doesn't hang around too long, and he pops up, and that is the first out. That'll bring up Brian Pozos. So Pozos up. Pozos hitting .244 on the summer for the Crabs, has 4 home runs, 25 runs batted in. Iglesias into the line, the right-hander deals, and that's a fastball that stays inside, and it is 1-0. So Pozos up. Again, .244 on the season, but does have his 4 home runs. Comes from the University of Portland, although going to head to Chico State and hang with Andy Bersinger, the assistant coach, former Crabs player as well. He lines that one up the middle for a base hit, so a 1-out single for Brian Pozos, and the Crabs have got a runner on, a 1 out, and that'll bring up the ever-so-hot hitting at James Outman. Outman leads the team in batting and does so by 24 points. 24 points higher than the next highest batter. James Outman hitting .380 for the Crabs this season. The next highest batter, Michael Perry, at .356. But Outman, .380, has 4 home runs, 34 runs batted in. Also tied for the team lead with 12 doubles. And Outman just continues to rake it, swinging the bat this summer, as the first pitch, a slider that stays outside from Iglesias, and it is 1 ball and no strikes. Outman looking at Iglesias. Iglesias on the next pitch, a fastball in the outside corner. It's a strike, 1-1 the count. Outman comes from Sacramento State University. Comes from Redwood City in the Bay Area originally, as he played at Junipero Serra High School, not to be confused with a school down in Southern California. Comes from Redwood City in the Bay Area. A throw over to first and back in time was Pozos. And the next pitch, going on the pitch, is going to be Pozos. Throw is going to skip into center field, but no further advancement, as Pozos had that stolen. Pitch was off the plate, so 2-1 the count. And I know that's right, because Liam Warner, excellent on the scoreboard over here, as he gets his praise, due praise from us, doesn't he? He did better than I did, that's all I'll say. So I can look down and see that the runner is going, and I know that the proper indication of striker ball was made based off the scoreboard. So timeout called briefly at the moment, as Jake Cruz goes out to talk to his pitcher, Iglesias. Now he goes back to his position behind home plate. So give Brian Pozos a stolen base, and for Pozos, that's his 10th stolen base, so he's 10 of 13 in stolen bases on the season. The next pitch, Outman swings, hits it foul down the left field line. Is going to carry out of play. And that'll leave in the count 2-2. So Outman was a second-team All-League selection in high school. It's actually a two-time second-league All-League selection. His high school career batting average was .305, so it's no surprise that James Outman's doing it as well as he has. He's been hitting well throughout much of his playing career. That's going to be a one-hopper to second. Luke Huerta picks it up, throws over to first. On the play, going to third is going to be Pozos, as the ball was hit behind him. So a 4-3 ground out, but Pozos goes from second to third, and Jason Newman now stepping in. So Newman has really implanted himself in the cleanup spot, and there's a good reason why. A .306 batter with 4 home runs, 25 runs batted in. Now, tied with James Outman for the team lead in doubles with 12. Now he goes to Cal State Northridge. However, he's a native Texan, and he's a big follower of the Texas Rangers as a result. When he was a child, he moved from Texas to Southern California, and that's where he's really been ever since. The next pitch is a fastball that stays high. It's 1-0. Originally from the Dallas area, and played high school at Taft High School in the Los Angeles area. Moved to Southern California when he was a child and played high school in the LA area. Now is playing college ball in the LA area at Cal State Northridge. One of the coolest things about playing at Cal State Northridge for baseball, as the 1-0 pitch is inside 2-0, the broadcaster who does the baseball games, former Dodger broadcaster Ross Porter. So a familiar voice doing the Cal State Northridge games. If you're ever interested to see what Jason Newman does for his regular school, you'll be hearing a familiar voice on their internet stream. So 2-0 the count. Iglesias on the wind. The pitch is going to be outside and low, ball 3. So Newman showing a good eye. 3-0 the count. And we got to wonder if he's going to be given the green light. Runner at third. And I got to imagine because there's 2 out and a runner at third, he will be asked to take a strike. But again, we've seen me be wrong plenty of times before. And we've seen crazy things happen. 3-0 pitch. And he is taking, so I am right for a change. 3-1 the count. So 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 out here in the bottom of the first inning. No score. We're just getting started. If, again, you're still making your way to the ballpark, just exercise some patience. We're just getting started here in the bottom of the first inning and a no-score ball game. Iglesias out of the stretch, and the pitch. That's going to be lined up the middle for a base hit. And coming in to score will be Brian Pozos on the RBI single by Jason Newman, and the Crabs take a 1-0 lead. Looked like a fastball that just kind of hung too much on the inside part of the plate. Newman was able to turn on it and just throw that one right up the middle. As Pozos brings in the first run of the game for either side. And that'll bring up Michael Perry. Perry from the University of San Francisco, and we've seen a lot of great Crabs players come out of there. Iglesias out of the stretch, and he deals, and that's going to be poked over into center field. It's going to fall for a base hit. Newman's going to round second and then hold there, as quickly on the play was right fielder Ryan Tom. So did a great job to charge it, as Naeem Knox, the center fielder, knew immediately he was going to have a play on it, knew better to play that on a bounce, and actually cutting it off before it got to him was the right fielder Ryan Tom. Returned it to the infield quickly to prevent Newman from going to third, and 2 consecutive singles here with 2 out. One of them brought in a run. The next one puts runners at first and second with 2 out, and that'll bring up Newt Johnson. Iglesias set at the belt. Out of the stretch he deals, and that's a changeup, and way out in front of that one was Newt Johnson. Swung on and missed, and it is 0-1. Johnson, we've seen him play a variety of positions, both corner infield positions as well as designated hitter. The next pitch on the way from Iglesias, that's a fastball that stays inside, and the count goes even now. 1 ball and a 1 strike. Johnson hitting .255, 2 home runs, 19 runs batted in. And that pitch is in the dirt. It's going to skip away from the catcher, and advancing are the runners. To second will be Perry, and to third Newman. So second and third with 2 out. And a big opportunity for New Johnson to really give the Crabs a comfortable lead after one inning here. So 2-1 the count, 2 out, 1-0 Crabs, and they're looking to add on a couple of more. The next pitch, a fastball, and Cruz having to save that one from going to the backstop as it was way above him, or at least it was above where he was expecting it to be. And it is now 3-1, so count definitely in New Johnson's favor here, as he's looking to drive in the 2 runners from second and third. Iglesias out of the stretch, the pitch swung on and fouled back, and that'll break the count full. It is 3-2. So Iglesias giving up 3 base hits here in the first inning. That led to a run. 3 singles. Pozo singled, stole a base, got to third on a ground out, came in on Jason Newman's single. Michael Perry singled to send him to second. A wild pitch sent both of them to second and third. The 3-2 pitch, and a bit high, ball 4 as he missed. Looked like a changeup because it wasn't as hard as his fastball, but there was no dip to it. I think he wanted to dip it down and just never did. And either way, it's a walk to New Johnson. So the base is loaded with 2 out here, and that'll bring up Jacob Thurber. Thurber, another versatile player we've seen. We've seen him at first base, DH, as well as catcher. He is catching tonight. Comes from Washington State University, grew up in the Seattle area. And the first pitch from Iglesias is a bit high and outside, 1-0. Thurber hitting .271. Tied for third on the team with 4 home runs. There's a lot of guys on this team with 4. The Crabs, as a team, have hit 36 home runs. The next pitch on the way, and it's swung on and fouled back, and it is now 1 ball and 1 strike. So 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out here in the bottom of the first inning. Bases loaded, and a 1-0 Crabs lead as they're looking to extend that. Thurber with 22 runs batted in this summer. The next pitch, and a fly ball into left field, carrying over into foul ground, and it's going to land untouched in the bullpen area. Giving pursuit was Ryan Probst, and he's going to trip and fall over, and we hope he's okay. It looks like he is. Ball officially out of play, actually. Even if he had managed to catch that one among the batting cages, they would not have allowed it, as he really ran into where the batting cage area was, behind the bullpen down the left field line and foul ground, and I can't imagine that would have been allowed anyway. But good effort nonetheless, and good to see that he is okay after tripping over down there. It's concrete in that batting cage, so that's something that's to be a concern when you see someone fall over there. But it does look to be okay. Ryan Probst giving good pursuit, but it is a foul ball. 1-2 the count to Jacob Thurber here in the bottom of the first inning. And here's the pitch from Iglesias, and it is high and outside, 2-2. The breaking ball did not dip in. It looks like, to me at least, that he's tried to get the curveball working, but he hasn't been able to get much break on it. And that's why he's been missing so much in the strike zone. So deuce is wild, 2 balls, 2 strike, 2 out. Bases loaded, and the next pitch swung on and missed a high fastball. Thurber behind it. Down he goes, and that ends the inning. But not before the Crabs able to add a run on 3 base hits. There were no errors, and there were 3 left as we go to the top of the second inning here at the Arcata Ballpark. The Crabs lead Berkovich Gold 1-0. And we go to the top of the second inning here at the Arcata Ballpark. 1-0 the Crabs lead over Berkovich as Ryan Ralston in his second inning of work. Ryan Probst, a slow grounder to third, picking it up as Perry's going to make a throw over to first, overthrown, and it's going to be an error on Michael Perry. So a slow grounder. Perry had to backhand it behind the bag, make a long throw, and he overthrew everyone. So aboard first safely is Ryan Probst on the fielding error by Michael Perry. So second base runner of the game for Berkovich, as they're looking to take advantage of this leadoff base runner, especially a leadoff base runner that they were able to get off the error. So Sam Weaver, the third baseman, now stepping in. We've got Probst leading off first. Ralston out of the stretch, and he deals, and that's swung on and missed on a high fastball, and it's 0-1. Now, Ralston's come a lot in relief, so pitching out of the stretch is something he can do, it seems like, almost as well as he can pitching out of a windup, as the throw over to first is not in time. They wanted to chase back Probst, and Probst does dive back in time. But as a relief pitcher, it is important that you develop a great motion out of the stretch, because there's going to be often times where you come in with runners on base already. As the strike one pitch, a fastball swung on and missed, and it's 0-2. So because Ralston has pitched a lot out of the bullpen, it's no surprise to see that he can pitch well out of the stretch with a runner on base. So 0-2 here to Sam Weaver, the third baseman. The next pitch from Ralston, a high fastball, as he wanted Weaver to chase after that one, but Weaver too disciplined to go after a high fastball like that. You'll see that a lot on an 0-2 count. A high fastball, because coming out of the pitcher's hand, it looks really enticing to hit, but once it gets to you, you realize it's at your eye level, and it's almost impossible to hit it. The 1-2 pitch swung on and missed. That one not quite as high, but still the same desired effect. A strikeout on a high fastball by Sam Weaver. There's one away here in the top of the second inning, and that'll bring up Ant McDougal. McDougal serving as a designated hitter tonight. So McDougal with a runner at first, one out. And the next pitch is inside, and it is 1 ball and no strikes. Again, whether it be his slider or his curveball, it seems like he's trying to get break on it, but it's just not breaking enough, and that's why he's missing off the plate a bunch. And that's been the same way for Ragsdale as it is for Iglesias. We've seen that from both pitchers a little bit, is that when they miss, it's because they're not getting enough break on their pitches. I said Ralston or Ragsdale? I said Ragsdale. That's okay. I meant Ralston. He's on the mound. Now, Ragsdale, another pitcher for the Crabs, but no, it's Ralston, Ryan Ralston. And the next pitch is a fastball outside, and it is 2-1. So McDougal trying to move along his runner, Ryan Probst. The next pitch swung on and missed, and way out in front of that one. He took something off that one, did Ralston, and it is now 2-2. So it seems as though when Ralston hits his spots, he's hard to hit, but from what we saw in the last inning, missed on a few occasions and was able to get out of that one unscathed otherwise. The 2-2 pitch. And it is a bit low and outside. It's 3-2. So don't have any numbers on any of the runners, so we're not sure how fast Probst is or whether he's usually a successful base stealer or not, but taking a moderate lead. The next pitch from Ralston swung on and missed. As he really looked like a slider that way outside, swung on and missed as McDougal goes down. Second strikeout of the inning, second strikeout of the game for Ralston, and that'll bring up Ryan Tom. And the next pitch that's Ryan Tom as he swings and fouls back that pitch, and it is 0-1. So 2 consecutive strikeouts after the leadoff runner advanced on an error. Ryan Probst advanced on an error to lead off the inning as Michael Perry overthrew. Now, granted, that was going to be a tough play anyway, but one he should have made, hence the error. The strike one pitch, and it missed just inside. That one had a lot more break on it, just couldn't quite hit the spot, so it is 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out here in the top of the second. Ralston's next pitch. That's poked foul down the right field line, and it is 1-2. On deck is the 9th hitter, Isaac Cruz, the shortstop. That's if Ryan Tom could get on base in any way. So Ralston set at the chest. Out of the stretch he deals, and that's going to be a fly ball into center field. Mason Cirillo is there. Jogs over to his left, makes the catch, and that's the 3rd out, and the inning is over. So the Berkovich Gold baseball team, they get a leadoff runner on an error, otherwise nothing else, no runs, no hits, an error, and 1 person left as we go to the top or the bottom of the 2nd inning here at the Arcata Ballpark. The Crabs lead Berkovich Gold by a score of 1-0. You're listening to Crabs baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. And welcome back to the Arcata Ballpark, where the Crabs have taken a 1-0 lead over Berkovich. And for the Berkovich Gold baseball team, it's been a rough weekend in Humboldt County. They got swept by the B-52s over the weekend, including an 11-3 loss yesterday. Yeah, they got bombed by the B-52s, no pun intended, but they're looking to come back at it versus the Crabs. The Crabs have the early lead. Mason Cirillo to step in. Xavier Iglesias still on the mound for Berkovich, and he misses outside on the first pitch to Cirillo. It is 1-0. So Cirillo comes from Washington State. Cirillo on the season hitting .258 on the summer for the Crabs, as that's a strike, and it's 1-1. Cirillo, 2 home runs, 15 runs batted in. Has a pretty respectable .345 on-base percentage, however. And that's because he's drawn 11 walks. The next pitch is swung on and fouled back at the plate. And it is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Yeah, Cirillo comes from Washington State. He's a Wazoo Cougar. Originally from Auburn, Washington. And was an outstanding hitter in high school at Auburn, Washington. And the next pitch is in the dirt. No, it's swung on and missed, and down he goes. So ball into dirt, swung on and missed, and he's tagged out as he walks by. Didn't try to go to first anyway, so a strikeout for Cirillo. Down he goes, and that'll bring up Mason Thielander. So Thielander's stepping in. Thielander, he's kind of split time with Logan Bush in right field and hitting .239 this summer. No home runs, 4 runs batted in. Does have 2 doubles, 11 for 46 overall. As the first pitch off the plate, it's 1-0. Thielander from Lawson Junior College. He's actually going to go play, as the next pitch is outside, and it is 2-0. He's going to go play at Colorado State Pueblo. It's a Division II school over, obviously, in Colorado, part of the Colorado State system. Now, they just call it Colorado State over there, so at first I thought he meant he was playing in Fort Collins for the Rams. That would be a Division I, but still playing for a solid Division II program. The fly ball into left field. Probst giving pursuit's going to go over his head and hop against the wall. T-Lander's going to round first and steam into second with a stand-up double here with 1 out in the bottom of the second. So T-Lander really gave that one a ride, and Probst playing a bit inside on the outfield. Had to go way over his head. And as a result, standing at second base is Mason T-Lander. So back to the top of the order will be David Hamilton. Hamilton with a runner at second. And 1 out. The pitch from Iglesias, and that's on the inside corner for a strike, and it's 0-1. Hamilton's 0 for 1. He popped out to shortstop in the first inning. So Hamilton, not even a college student yet. He's got another month to go until that starts. Not even, actually, probably 3 weeks to go before he even starts college, as the next pitch is inside. It's 1-1. Just finished high school, and it's not too often the Crabs see a guy who has zero collegiate experience not only join the team, but really insert himself as an everyday contributor and a cornerstone of the lineup. He's stabilized the infield, really, and really has entrenched himself at the leadoff spot. The 1-1 pitch is outside, 2-1. And give credit to Jake Cruz behind the plate, as we allowed one to get behind him, but otherwise he's prevented a lot of other pitches that could have gotten behind him from doing so. The 2-1 pitch is a fastball that misses outside. It's 3-1. So Hamilton, looking forward to his time in the Big 12, and Ryan Reynolds, from what I heard, is going to be a big help in that regard. Reynolds has played there in Texas already, but not Hamilton. He's going to go to Austin, at least as a student, for the first time. He takes the pitch off the plate, ball 4. And it's now first and second with 1 out as Hamilton draws the walk, and that'll bring up Brian Pozos. Pozos is 1 for 1. He singled, stole a base, and came around to score a run on the RBI single by Jason Newman, and looking to add an RBI to that batting line. So Pozos going to join Andy Bersinger, his assistant coach, here with the Crabs at Chico State, as that pitch is on the outside corner for a strike. It's 0-1. So a Portland Pilot going to be a Chico Wildcat. I wonder how much Andy Bersinger had to do with that decision. The strike 1 pitch, and that's going to be lined into left field for a base hit. And they're going to hold T-Lander at third. That ball was really softly hit, and charging that one well was Probst. So station to station each player goes as the bases are now loaded once again. And that's going to bring up probably the best Crabs hitter in James Outman. So going to third is T-Lander. At second is Hamilton. On the base hit by Brian Pozos, James Outman now stepping in. Outman's 0 for 1. He grounded out to second in the first inning. But as we had mentioned before, Outman's been hitting much of his baseball playing life. He was a .305 career hitter in high school with a .508 career slugging percentage. And the first pitch is in the dirt, and nice save once again by Cruz. He has done that quite a few times, as Iglesias really hasn't been on command tonight. And it's not the fastballs that he's missing on it, it's his breaking pitches. He's not getting the movement on the pitches it seems that he wants, and he's not hitting his spots as a result. So 1-0 the count. And the next pitch swung on and missed, and it is 1-1. Not only was he a baseball player, he was a linebacker on his football team. And his team won the section championship as the 1-1 pitch is on the inside corner for a strike, and it is 1-2. Yeah, was a leading tackler his junior year with 60. In addition to his .305 career batting average, his junior year as a baseball player hit .325. So James Outman, an accomplished athlete, and looking to bring in some more runs for the Crabs. That ball is grounded down the first base line just fair, and it's going to be picked up and taken to the bag by Jackson Roberts. Scoring on the play is going to be T-Lander. So an RBI ground out by James Outman, and that makes it a 2-0 Crabs lead. So T-Lander scores on the ground out by James Outman. So Outman is 0 for 2, but he has a run batted in. And even on his 4-3 ground out in the first inning, it was not a complete waste, as that allowed the runner to go to third base. Allowed the runner Pozos, who was ahead of him, to go to third base. So each out has been a productive one that Outman has made today. And Jason Newman now up. Jason Newman, 1 for 1, had the RBI single to bring in the first Crabs run in that first inning. It scored Brian Pozos. And now with second and third and 2 out, the first pitch is a fastball in the outside corner for a strike, and it is 0-1 to the right-handed hitting first baseman out of Cal State Northridge. Originally out of the Dallas, Texas area. And he told me he's a Rangers fan. He's got to be incredibly happy with how that trade deadline went. Picking up Jonathan Lucroy, Carlos Beltran. That's going to be the favorite out of the American League to reach the World Series, in my opinion. The strike one pitch is a bit low, and it is 1-1. Yeah, Professor Benjamin says Cleveland. I'm not sold on the Cleveland Indians, honestly, but. And a balk is called, so that'll bring in David Hamilton. So a balk, yeah, I looked down real quick, and I just saw Hamilton coming in, and yeah, it was a balk called. So Iglesias having his struggles both with his command and apparently his pitching motion as he commits a balk. So runner at third as Hamilton brings in the third run. And now a runner at third, the next pitch in the dirt, and it's 2-0. So 2 balls, no strikes, 2 out here in the bottom of the second inning, 3-0 in favor of the Crabs. And it's Jason Newman looking for his second hit and his second RBI of the evening. Michael Perry is on deck. The next pitch is going to be a check swing on a pitch in the dirt, and they'll say no swing. Dan Murphy at first base putting the no swing indication, and it's 3-0 count definitely in Jason Newman's favor. And we've seen Tyson Fisher instruct his players to take a strike on 3-0, at least tonight. So we'll have to see if Jason Newman is under the same command from his manager. Here's the pitch. Nope, swinging all the way, and it's going to be a slow grounder to third. Sam Weaver picking it up, is going to throw, not in time. Ball skips away from the first baseman, Jackson Roberts anyway. It'll be, I'll say a base hit, but we'll have to see. Yeah, it's going to be a base hit. And an RBI single for Jason Newman, so he's now 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs. So Brian Pozos scores for the second time today. So the right side of the infield for the Crabs doing much of the production as they're combined 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs scored, Pozos and Newman. The right side of the Crabs infield, and that'll bring up Michael Perry. Perry's 1 for 1. He singled in the first inning. Next pitch in the dirt. Nice save once again by Cruz. He can't seem to find the ball, but Newman was not going, so he had no chance to really advance on that one. It's 1-0. So yeah, Jake Cruz behind the plate has done a remarkable job at handling all that's been thrown at him. Literally handling all that's been thrown at him. As it really hasn't been easy for him to deal with many of those off-target pitches. The next pitch is grounded foul down the left field line, and that evens the count at 1 ball and 1 strike. So Michael Perry, out of the University of San Francisco, he told me he's after Alan Smoot's batting record. Although he's not going to quite get to that this season. He still had an outstanding summer, hitting .356, leads the team with 6 home runs, and has a very solid amount, 26 runs batted in, and a .634 slugging percentage. Yeah, .634, and if you look at the slugging percentage numbers, that's 90 points better than James Outman. Slugging percentage category. 2-1 pitch as out of the stretch, Iglesias deals, and that is outside, and it is 3-1, so the count in favor of Michael Perry. So Michael Perry doesn't have Alan Smoot's batting record, but that was what he hit, 425 or something over the course of the summer. It was an outstanding performance that he put on, but yeah, didn't have the same type of power that Perry did, so Perry still, I mean, you can't ask for much more than he's done. That's going to be lined down the left field line, but foul, and it's going to land in the Crabs bullpen, so the count goes full 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strike, 2 out here in the bottom of the second inning. 4-0 in favor of the Crabs, as they're looking to bounce back after dropping 2 of 3 against the Pacific Union Financial Capitalists over the weekend. So 3-2. Iglesias, he's set at the chest, out of the stretch, and here's the pitch, and that is inside, ball 4, and the Crabs inning continues as Michael Perry draws the walk. Going to second is going to be Jason Newman. And that'll bring up New Johnson. Johnson, no official at-bat yet today. Officially 0 for 0 as he walked in his first plate appearance. Pet peeve of mine is when they call a walk an at-bat. It is not an at-bat, exactly. That is a pet peeve, and Professor Benjamin is in wholehearted agreement. And that's going to be a grounder over to short. And picking it up, throwing to second, is going to be Isaac Cruz. And that'll end the inning. So Newt Johnson, a 6-4 ground out. And that ends the inning, but not before the Crabs pick up 3 runs on 3 base hits. No errors plus a walk, and they leave 1 as we go to the top of the 3rd inning. And the Crabs lead Berkovich Gold Baseball by a score of 4-0. You're listening to Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. And we go to the top of the 3rd inning here at the Arcata Ballpark as the Crabs have taken a 4-0 lead. And with the exception of Mason Teelander's double with 1 out in the 2nd inning, every other base that the Crabs have gotten have been singles, but they've been stringing together hits on a consistent basis so far tonight and have hit well with runners in scoring position, so they've been able to just manufacture runs, as they say. They haven't relied on any power yet. So Ryan Ralston. I am going to mix Ralston and Ragsdale up a bunch, but it is Ryan Ralston in, and he deals the first pitch a bit low, and it's 1-0. So Ryan Ralston, the Kansas Jayhawk, again, had his struggles in the Big 12 for Kansas, but really, with the Crabs, has been outstanding again. 2.7 ERA entering the game. The next pitch off the plate, 2-0. Here's the next pitch on the way. And that's a strike right there, and it is 2 balls and 1 strike. Isaac Cruz, the shortstop, is up. He's the 9th hitter. Then back to the top of the order to Luke Huerta and then Naeem Knox. And if anyone can get on, we'll also see Jake Cruz, the catcher. And the next pitch is swung on and hit foul down the 3rd base line, and it's 2-2. Ralston, it was command issues that really were his downfall at Kansas. He has 14 walks in 23 1/3 innings, although his 19-to-14 ratio is much better than it was at Kansas. As the 2-2 pitch is outside, it's 3-2. Ralston had 21 walks in 21 1/3 innings pitched to only 15 strikeouts. That's going to be a fly ball down the right field line. Giving pursuit is going to be Teelander, but it's going to land untouched in foul ground, and the count's still going to be 3-2. So Ralston is improving, although, again, he'd like to get the walk numbers down a bit. Ideally, at minimum, 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio with maybe, half as many walks as innings pitched. It's kind of around the threshold you want to reach as a pitcher, and Ralston doing his part to go in that direction. The 3-2 pitch. Inside and high on the fastball, ball 4. And Isaac Cruz is aboard, a leadoff walk, and that is a mortal sin of a pitcher is giving up a leadoff walk, as that's a free base runner to lead off the inning, and Luke Huerta now stepping in. Huerta's 0 for 1 as he popped out to first to begin the game. But he's got a runner at first to try to pick up, and for Berkovich to try to cut into this 4-0 lead, this 4-0 hole they've dug themselves early on here as we're in the top of the 3rd inning. Ralston on the first pitch, and it's a fastball that stays high and inside. It's 1-0. So Ralston out of the stretch once again, and that's going to be popped up right side of the infield. Newman calling for it and makes the catch for the first out. So for the second consecutive at-bat, Luke Huerta pops out to Newman at first, and there's one away that'll bring up Naeem Knox. He didn't have too much opportunity in the last couple of innings to really track down any balls, but we've seen on at least some of the base hits hit his way. He covers a lot of ground out there in center field, but again, with the balls that have been hit, he hasn't had a chance to really showcase those talents on tracking down fly balls yet, as the first pitch is a fastball a bit low. It's 1-0. So Naeem Knox looks to have a decent amount of speed, but right now trying to pick up Isaac Cruz from first base. And the next pitch, and it is in the dirt, and trying to throw down to first, but having it scored out of his hand is Jacob Thurber. So no play down there, but he looked ready to fire down to first to see if he can nail Cruz, but slipped out of his hand like a bar of soap, and it's 2-0. Jake Cruz, the catcher, on deck. Ralston out of the stretch, and here's the pitch, and it's in the dirt. It's going to go to the backstop, and going down to second base is going to be Cruz. So a wild pitch by Ralston, and now is a runner in scoring position, 1 out here. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. The Crabs lead 4-0. 3-0 the count to Knox. And the next pitch is just a bit high and outside, ball 4. Looked really close, but just missed. And Knox is aboard. It's going to be first and second now with 1 out, and that'll bring up Jake Cruz, the catcher. So Cruz up. Cruz is 1 for 1, has the only base hit of the game for Berkovich. As for the most part, Ragsdale, the base runners he's allowed have either been by walk or by error. And the next pitch is a bit low and inside on a fastball. It's 1 ball and no strikes. So Jake Cruz, 1-0 the count. And the next pitch, and it's a breaking ball. A nice one from Ralston in for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike the count. So at second is Cruz, and at first is Knox. Runner in scoring position, the first real scoring opportunity that Berkovich has had tonight. And the next pitch is swung on and missed. Really pulling the string on that one was Ralston. And it's 1-2. One ball, 2 strike, and 1 out. Ralston sit at the chest, looks back at second. Out of the stretch, here's his pitch. It's swung on and fouled back and out of play. And we'll do it again at 1-2. One ball, 2 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 3rd inning. The Crabs lead 4-0, but Berkovich is threatening. So 1-2. And here's the pitch. Strike 3 call on the outside corner. Really painting the black on that one was Ryan Ralston. perfectly placed fastball, too. I mean, right on the corner. He couldn't not have placed it any further off the strike zone without it being a strike, and that's the second out as Cruz called out on strikes. That'll bring up Jackson Roberts. Roberts is 0 for 1, hit into a 6-4 force play to end the first inning. The pitch from Ralston, a breaking ball that stays high and inside. It's 1-0. So for Ralston, it seems, if he can get a little more break on his curveball, he'll have a little bit more success as he's, again, missed a few times. And the next pitch is high and inside, 2-0. Yeah, the walks that he's had primarily contributed by his inability to spot his breaking ball the way he wanted to. His fastball has been a lot more precise, but... And his changeup we've seen a couple of times as well. The next pitch is in the dirt. Going to go to the back, well, not all the way to the backstop, but far enough away from Thurber at the minimum for the runners to advance. So a wild pitch as it skipped away from Thurber. So second and third now with 2 out. And Jackson Roberts with a chance to cut the lead in half with just a base hit here. The 3-0 pitch, and here it is from Ralston, and that's in there for a strike. It's 3-1. On deck is Ryan Probst, the left fielder. And the 3-1 pitch outside, ball forward, so Probst aboard as he draws the walk with 2 out to load the bases now. And I said that was Probst. Probst is now coming up to bat. Jackson Roberts is the one who took the walk right there. So ball 4, Roberts at first, Ryan Probst now at the plate. Cruz at third still, and Knox still at second. As Eric Giacone, the pitching coach for the Crabs, going out to talk to Ryan Ralston and try to settle him down here. So Eric Giacone, and he's been around just as long as Tyson Fisher has. He's been Tyson Fisher's pitching coach now in his third season. And last year led the Crabs staff, the pitching staff, to a 2.61 ERA with 420 strikeouts. So Eric Giacone really having a good effect on the Crabs pitching staff and trying to see if that same effect can happen right here. As the bases are loaded with 2 out, big part of the game right here as Probst stepping in. And the next pitch, that's going to be lined up the middle for a base hit. Coming in to score is Cruz. They're going to wave around Knox, and the throw to home is going to be not in time on the 2 RBI, 2-out single by Ryan Probst, and the Crabs' lead is now 4-2. It seemed as though Ralston left that one hanging over the plate, and Probst did a great job to drive it right back up the middle and send in 2 runners. So 4-2 in favor of the Crabs as Cruz scores as well as Knox. And that'll bring up Sam Weaver, the third baseman. And first pitch off the plate, 1 ball and no strikes. So Roberts is at second and Probst at first. So first and second, 2 out, but now a 4-2 Crabs lead after it was 4-0 entering the inning. Ralston out of the stretch, the next pitch. That's a fly ball into center field. Cirillo giving pursuit, but he has a play on it. Going back toward the track, looks up, makes the catch, and the inning is over. But not before Berkovich able to add 2 runs on only 1 base hit, no errors, but 3 walks. And 2 people left as we go to the bottom of the third inning here at the Arcata Ballpark. The Crabs lead Berkovich by a score of 4-2. You're listening to Humble Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. welcome back to the Arcata Ballpark as we go to the bottom of the third inning. The Crabs lead 4-2, but they've gotten a run in each of the first 2 innings, a run in the first, 3 in the second. As the Crabs looking to keep scoring in every inning. If you can score in every inning, your chances of winning are pretty high, and it's been a good start for the Crabs offense so far, but they've let a 4-0 lead now become a 4-2 lead after Berkovich scored 2 runs in that second inning, and Jacob Thurber to lead things off, takes the pitch off the plate, 1-0. The next pitch from Iglesias swung on, grounded foul down the first base line. And it is 1 ball and 1 strike. Jacob Thurber 0 for 1, one of the 2 strikeout victims for Xavier Iglesias this evening. It'll be Thurber, Mason Cirillo, Mason Thielander, the 7, 8, 9 hitters on deck. If anyone can get on base, we'll go back to the top of the order to David Hamilton. A check swing on a breaking ball. And if that's the type of pitch on a curveball that Iglesias can throw, then he's going to have a lot more success, as that's the type of break he's been wanting but hasn't been able to get consistently. That's a strike. 1-2 the count to Jacob Thurber. Iglesias back into the wind, and the next pitch, a check swing, and it's going to be a little number past the pitcher, and an underhanded scoop at second base, and not quite in time, as covering the bag was Iglesias. Making a great play at second, charging was Luke Huerta, and he didn't even have time to throw it with his hand. He had to underhand it with his glove and almost made a great play doing so. And either way, it's a leadoff infield single for Jacob Thurber, but still nice effort nonetheless by Huerta at second base. Although Iglesias probably should have taken a better path to that ground ball, he might have been able to cut it off. Instead, it went by and making it a much more difficult play. And as a result, an infield single for Jacob Thurber. Mason Cirillo now stepping in. So runner at first, nobody out. As the Crabs now already have their 7th base hit of the evening, and we're just beginning the bottom of the third inning. A throw over to first and back in time is Jacob Thurber. So the first pitch now, and Cirillo takes a fastball high, and it is 1-0. So 1 ball, no strike, runner at first. Taking a look at Thurber's numbers on the base paths. Has not attempted a stolen base this summer. Popped up on foul ground, left side of the infield. Giving pursuit is going to be the catcher, Cruz, and he makes the catch, an underhanded catch, as he was about to hit the backstop and was about maybe a step or so behind the backstop. And that is the first out. So Mason Cirillo pops out to the catcher and foul ground. So 1 away here in the bottom of the third. That'll bring up Mason Thielander. The basket catch is one of the few things Cruz could have done because he was running out of real estate really quickly. And that was all he could have done. So runner at first. Again, that's Thurber. No stolen bases attempted this summer. As Thielander on the next pitch swings and fouls that one back and out of play. And it is no balls and 1 strike. So 0-1 the count. And the next pitch is inside and high. It's 1-1. Thielander is 1 for 1. He doubled and scored a run in the second inning. Hit a ball over the head of Ryan Props, the left fielder. Had a 1 hop against the wall, and that was good enough to bring in the second run. Or was able to score, I should say, the second run of the game. That pitch in the dirt, and once again, Cruz with a nice save. And it is now 2-1. So 2 balls and 1 strike. And the next pitch swung on and fouled away. And the count goes even 2-2. As Mason Thielander out of Lassen College. So 2-2. Throw over to first to chase back Thurber, but again, Thurber hasn't done much base running. I mean, hasn't tried to do any aggressive base running really this summer. He's been on base a lot, but lets the batters behind him move him along. That pitch is going to hit T-Lander in the back and look like a breaking ball that slipped out of Iglesias' hands, so T-Lander will jog down to first. First and second with one out. So David Hamilton, the leadoff hitter, now stepping in. Hamilton, 0 for 1. He popped out to short and he walked, but he also scored a run. So Iglesias trying to get out of this inning unscathed, as he's allowed the Crabs to score in every other inning, the previous 2 innings at least. And that's a strike to David Hamilton. It's 0-1. Hamilton hitting .285 this summer with the Crabs, and considering he hasn't even played college, that's pretty impressive out of the leadoff spot. Has a .418 on-base percentage, and that's why they have him batting leadoff. An outstanding on-base percentage of .418. He has walked more times than he has struck out as well. That's another reason why to have him in the leadoff spot. 28 walks to just 19 strikeouts this summer. The next pitch is a fastball that's outside, and it is 2-1. So 2-1, and the next pitch. That's a fly ball into center field. Knox going back on it, but he has a play. Looks up, makes the catch, and that's the second out. So a fly ball to center. That's the second out as Hamilton retired, and Brian Pozos now stepping in. Pozos is 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored as well as a stolen base. So Pozos has had himself a nice evening to start things off so far. First in, second, 2 out. Pozos trying to add to this Crabs lead and help get back some of the runs that were scored against him in the top of the third inning, and that's a strike on the first pitch. It's 0-1. James Outman is on deck if Pozos can extend the inning, but Pozos otherwise up. Pozos was batting .244 entering the game, but it's picked it up a little bit with his 2-hit performance, and now a third base hit as he grounds that one through the hole in left field. Stopping at third is going to be Thurber. And he would have been toast if he had gone on that one. Has a great throw in left field from Ryan Probst. Kind of emphasizes the reason why they held Thurber at third, as, again, he would have been toast if he had been sent around. So, base is loaded now after Brian Pozos picks up his third single of the game. And James Outman now stepping in. Outman is 0 for 2, but each of those outs has been a productive one. In the first inning, you had Brian Pozos at second base and hit it to the right side, a 4-3 ground out to second, but it was good enough to get Pozos to third, who was then able to score on Newman's single. And then in the second inning, hit a grounder to first, and it was slow enough for, again, the runner ahead of him to score. That was T-Lander on that particular pitch. So 0-1 the count. Bases loaded, and the pitch to Outman, and that's a strike on the outside corner. He's in the hole now quickly. It's 0-2. So the 2 sports star out of the Bay Area, Redwood City, both an outstanding baseball player and the leading tackler on his football team. So the pitch from Iglesias and the pitch to Outman, a grounder foul down the first base line. And the count still remains. It's 0-2. So no balls, 2 strike, 2 out here in the bottom of the third inning. Bases loaded, however, as the Crabs trying to get those 2 runs that Berkovich scored against them right back and make it a 4-run lead, if not more, once again. The strike 2 pitch is outside, a nice save by Cruz. He has done that multiple times tonight. A couple have gotten away from him, but with the amount of times he's really had to come out of his crouch and save it from going to the backstop. It's impressive that more Crabs base runners haven't advanced. As Cruz doing as well as he can to keep the runners at bay. The next pitch is outside, and that brings the count even. So deuce is wild. 2 balls, 2 strike, 2 out. 2-run lead for the Crabs as the bases are loaded here in the bottom of the third. Iglesias set at the belt, out of the stretch, and here's his pitch. And that's in the dirt, and Cruz once again keeping it in front of him. And it's a full count now, 3-2. Jason Newman is on deck, and Newman is 2 for 2 with 2 runs batted in. As so far, the right side of the infield for the Crabs tonight, a combined 5 for 5 with 2 runs scored and 2 RBIs. The 3-2 pitch. That's going to be lined right back to the pitcher, Iglesias, and he's able to knock it down with his body. Makes the throw to first in time to take care of Outman, and that ends the inning. That one was going right up the middle, would have been 2 runs, but it seems as though Iglesias took one for the team by just getting his body in front of it, kind of caromed off his legs and was still close enough to him for him to pick it up, throw to first in time to retire Outman, and the inning is over. So the Crabs threaten, get the bases loaded, but otherwise are unable to score. No runs on 2 base hits, no errors, also a hit batter, and 3 left as we go to the top of the 4th inning here at the Arcata Ballpark. The Crabs lead Berkovich by a score of 4-2. You're listening to Humboldt Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. And welcome back to the Arcata Ballpark, where we go to the top of the 4th inning. A 4-2 Crabs lead over Berkovich, but Berkovich able to keep the Crabs scoreless in that bottom of the third. It got what they call a shutdown inning. After they scored 2 runs in the top of the inning, they cut the lead to 2. And now they're looking to, at least from their perspective, try to get closer, eventually tie the game if they can in this inning. So Ant McDougal to lead things off, and the designated hitter for Berkovich takes a fastball in the outside corner for a strike, and it is 0-1. So it'll be McDougal, Ryan Tom, Isaac Cruz, the 7-8-9 hitters do up. That pitch is swung on and missed, and it's 0-2. So McDougal, Tom, Cruz, the 7-8-9 hitters. If anyone can extend the inning, we'll also see the leadoff batter, Luke Huerta, at the top of the order. As that pitch misses, it's 1-2. And the 1-2 pitch swung on and missed, and it's in the dirt, so the out will have to be recorded at first as Thurber picks it up and throws out McDougal, and there's 1 away. 4th strikeout out of the game for Ryan Ralston. Second time McDougal has struck out. And that'll bring up Ryan Tom. Tom is 0 for 1. He flew out to center field in the 2nd inning. As Ralston trying to get through the lineup in order for the first time this evening here in the top of the 4th inning. The first pitch, a fastball that misses outside. It's 1-0. And the 1-0 pitch, and that's going to be poked over to first, and Newman's going to have trouble with it. It's going to really have to rush to the bag, and is going to just beat Ryan Tom at first base for the 2nd out, but that was a close play as Newman made it interesting. A slow ground ball, and he didn't field it quite cleanly, and because of that split second of him having to kind of pick up the ball, that almost gave at least Ryan Tom enough time to beat out the foot race to the bag, but Newman did get there in time. 2 away as Isaac Cruz now stepping in and takes the first pitch off the plate. It's 1-0. Cruz is no official at bat, 0 for 0. Walked in his first plate appearance, also came around to score a run. On the RBI single by Ryan Probst. The next pitch is a breaking ball in there for a strike, and it is 1-1. So Ralston looks to be settling down here. Into the wind he goes again, and another breaking ball, a slider, it looked like that stayed inside, and it's 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, and here's the pitch. Outside, and it is 3-1. So 3-1, the next pitch on the way. And ball 4. And aboard first with 2 out is Isaac Cruz, so still no 1-2-3 inning for Ryan Ralston. And that'll bring up Luke Huerta, the leadoff hitter. Huerta's 0 for 2. Twice he popped out to first base to Jason Newman, so he was looking to, at this point, get the ball out of the infield, if not, at least draw a walk or get on base in some regard. The first pitch is on the outside corner for a strike on the fastball. It's 0-1. So Huerta with Isaac Cruz at first, and oftentimes those number 9 hitters are very quick, so we got to see if maybe he's going to try to take off here, and the next pitch is off the plate. It's 1-1. So Thurber keeping that one in front of him. Decent-sized crowd at the ballpark tonight, especially for a Tuesday. It was pretty slow when the gates opened, but really leading up to gate time, the crowd really started to pick up, and we're really happy to see that all these fans made it out here to the Arcata ballpark as the Crabs continue to really draw well attendance-wise, and the more people that are here, the better atmosphere there is. That's going to be a high chopper up the middle. Hamilton charging it, makes a strong throw to first in time to take care of Huerta, and that ends the inning. So Hamilton continuing to show why he's such a good shortstop, as that was not an easy routine play. A high chopper, didn't have much time to get the throw off, but still got it in plenty of time with perfect accuracy, and that ends the inning. So no runs, no hits, no errors, a walk, and 1 person left as the Berkovich Gold baseball team retired in order in the top of the 4th. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning here at the Arcata ballpark. The Crabs lead Berkovich by a score of 4-2. You're listening to Humboldt Crabs baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning here at the Arcata ballpark. The Crabs lead Berkovich by a score of 4-2. The Crabs looking to bounce back from a tough weekend, losing 2 of 3 to the Pacific Union Financial Capitalists. And the Berkovich Gold baseball team trying to erase a 3-game Humboldt losing streak as they lost to the B-52s of Eureka over the weekend, getting swept in that 3-game series. That first pitch in the dirt, 1-0 the count to Jason Newman, the leadoff batter here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Newman is 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs, so a very solid day at the plate already for the Crab first baseman, the Natador out of Northridge, as he hits a grounder over to third, picking that one up and making a nice, oh no, it skipped away. Sam Weaver looked like he was going to have throw in plenty of time, but instead it skipped away from the first baseman, and going down to second is going to be Jason Newman. So throwing error by Sam Weaver. So each team now with an error apiece. And a runner in scoring position, a leadoff runner in scoring position for the Crabs here for Michael Perry. Michael Perry 1 for 1 today and has been on base twice. He singled and walked. And the first pitch, and that's going to be, skips away from the catcher, Cruz, and that's going to be a pass ball. Looks like they just got their pitch calls tied up, pitcher and catcher, and it doesn't look like Cruz was expecting the breaking ball. It skipped off his glove, and Newman will go to third on the pass ball. So Perry up, 1-0 the count, and that's going to be hitting the right field, but going to be caught in the air by Ryan Tom, and trying to tag up, but staying where he's at is Newman, as Tom got a strong throw in. So one away here, as Michael Perry flies out to right field. So one away, Newt Johnson stepping in. Johnson's 0 for 1, he walked, and he hit into a 6-4 force play to end the second inning. Runner at third now with less than 2 outs. So many ways that this run can come in, and Johnson trying to figure out one of them. Iglesias on the first pitch, and that's a breaking ball that stays a bit up, and it's 1-0. So once again, he's not quite getting the break. We've seen that from both pitchers, but Iglesias has had issue with it a bit more than Ryan Ralston has, where he tries to throw a breaking ball, but it doesn't really break. That ball's going to be ripped over the leaping glove of Sam Weaver into left field. Scoring easily is going to be Newman, and holding at first with a single, an RBI single, is Newt Johnson, as the Crabs now lead 5-2, as Newt Johnson lines that one over the glove of Sam Weaver and into left field. That was a hanging breaking ball right there that Newt Johnson was all over, and if Sam Weaver was maybe 2 or 3 inches taller, he might have made a great play on that one, but instead it's an RBI single for Johnson. And that'll bring up Jacob Thurber. So 5-2 in favor of the Crabs. Thurber's 1 for 2. He struck out and singled, an infield single that he did a great job of hustling out, as that's a breaking ball in for a strike, and it's 0-1. So Jacob Thurber out of Washington State, the Seattle suburb area, and he told me he's a big Mariner. How can you not be growing up in Seattle? It's a cool city over there as it is, but he grew up a Mariners fan, is super excited about Ichiro's pursuit of 3,000 hits. I didn't see how he did tonight, but told me he's watching that closely. That's a fly ball into center field. Knox giving pursuit, still going back. It's going to be over his head and bounce to the fence. Coming all the way around to score from third is going to be Johnson, and the throw is not in time. It took a great throw. That was a great throw. Looked like that Johnson was going to score easily, but instead Knox with an outstanding throw, making it close. Johnson scores anyway. But that was still a solid throw. I did not expect to throw that strong. I thought Johnson was going to score easily, but Knox with a strong throw made it close, almost got him, but instead it's an RBI double for Jacob Thurber, and it's now 6-2 in favor of the Crabs. So Johnson scores on the... So on Newman's ground ball, it'll be a hit and an error. Okay, so not just an error, it'll be a hit and an error if you're keeping score at home. So Mason Cirillo up, showing butt, and it pulls it back, but it's a strike called anyway, and it's 0-1. So Cirillo's 0 for 2. I thought it was an error all the way just because the throw should have, yeah. Okay, yeah, it is just an error. I'm just conferring on, double checking on the official scoring so we have it right here. The next pitch is outside, 1-1. Yeah, on that play, on that ball by Jason Newman, Sam Weaver, a good throw would have gotten good throw would have gotten Newman by a couple of steps, so you got to say error all the way. Even though he had a backhand it, yeah. Perry flew out to right. And then Newt Johnson hit the RBI single, and after that, Jacob Thurber with the RBI double. And that scored Newt Johnson on that particular double. So 2-1 the count. And Newman advanced on the error and advanced from second to third on the pass ball after he got the second on the error. So 3-1 the count as that pitch missed. So big inning so far for the Crabs as they've scored 2 runs, gotten the 2 runs, albeit a couple innings later than to match what Berkovich did in that third inning. So in the bottom of the fourth is when they got the 2 runs back, looking to add more onto it. The 3-1 pitch is low, ball 4, and Cirillo is aboard with a walk. So first and second now with 1 out as Mason Thielander now stepping in. So the Crabs offense really feasting, I should say, on Xavier Iglesias' pitching. And again, it's because he can't consistently get his breaking ball over for strikes. He's having to rely on his fastball too much, and it's really making it a lot easier for the hitters to adjust to. He's also left a few breaking balls hanging over the plate as well, and right there hits Thielander off the side of the helmet, it looked like. Again, it was a breaking ball that he just could not get to bend. Not a hard thrown ball at all, as you just saw it glance off Thielander's helmet and he went to first. So really that breaking ball has been an issue all night for Xavier Iglesias. And that loads the bases. So David Hamilton now stepping in. He's 0 for 2, but walked and scored a run as well. He popped out to short, had that walk in the second inning in which he scored a run, and also flew out to center. So the Crabs looking to blow it wide open here, and Hamilton can do just that. All he needs is a single, and that would make it a 6-run lead here in this fourth inning. And Hamilton hitless today, but with how well he's been hitting, 285, can't expect that to last too much longer as the first pitch is inside. It's 1-0. So Hamilton gets on base again at a .418 clip. And that's why they have him out of the leadoff spot, as well as that he's walked 9 times more than he struck out this summer. The next pitch in the dirt, Cruz once again with a nice save, and that's going to prompt a visit from the pitching coach out to see Iglesias and try to see if he can settle him down. Yeah, there's no one warming up in the Berkovich bullpen. They only have, I think, 5 reserves. Yeah, 5 reserves they brought with them, besides the starting 10, the 9 batters plus the pitcher, and then 5 guys other than that. So what, maybe 1 or 2 pitchers? Can't imagine they brought more than that, because you got to have 1 or 2 position guys to fill in. Yeah, at least one of the other guys for the starter tomorrow's got to be a pitcher, and then maybe 1 other guy or 2, but the rest have got to be position players, as they brought a really small team up here. So what that means is if any pitchers get into trouble, they're going to have to wear the game. Hamilton grounds that one fair down the right field line and into the corner. In comes Serber, in comes Cirillo. They're going to hold Thielander at third on the 2 RBI double by David Hamilton, and the Crabs take an 8-2 lead. So 4 runs now scored in this inning to double up the 2 that Berkovich was able to get in the top of the third. So the Crabs extend their lead to 6 runs, 8-2 here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Brian Pozos now stepping in. He is 3 for 3 on the evening, and looking to add to that. And the next pitch is a fastball a bit low, and it is 1-0. So Pozos with a 3 for 3 evening. 2 runs scored, and now looking to add some RBIs to it. And the next pitch is a fastball outside, and it's 2-0. Yeah, because of the limited amount of pitchers that Berkovich has brought, although they are sending someone out to the bullpen, it looks like, but because of the limited amount of pitchers, these guys are going to have to wear whatever runs and hits are scored against them. The next pitch, and that's going to be a fly ball into right center field. Over there is Ryan Tom. Looks up, makes the catch. That's the second out. Tagging up is T-Lander. The throw instead goes to third, and the runner goes to third. So T-Lander scores. Hamilton to third on the scoring fly ball by Brian Pozos. And it's now 9-2 in favor of the Crabs. So Brian Pozos hits a scoring fly ball to right field. James Outman now stepping in. So James Outman now up. Outman is 0 for 3, so he's looking to join the hit parade right here. And the first pitch is in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. So for Brian Pozos, how about this evening? 3 for 3, 2 runs scored, and RBI. Perfect at the plate again. Scoring fly balls don't count again. It's like a sacrifice fly as they call it. And that's a strike right there, and it's 0-2, so it doesn't count against his average. So you could say 3 for 3, perfect night for Brian Pozos, but Outman now up at 0-2 looking to join the party. Currently the only, yes, he's the only Crab player so far tonight not to reach bases Outman. The next pitch is off the plate. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. So 1 ball, 2 strike, 2 out here in the bottom of the 4th as James Outman, the 9th man at the plate for the Crabs. The 1-2 pitch is a bit high, and that evens the count. So Deuces Wild again, 2 balls, 2 strike, 2 out. Here in the bottom of the 4th inning, 4 runs in as the Crabs lead by 7 now, 5 runs in the inning. 5 runs in the inning, and they lead 9-2. The next pitch, as Outman hits a fly ball, shallow left field. A trio of Berkovich players getting pursuit's going to land it between all of them. And a pop fly single as David Hamilton scores on the play. And Outman now with an RBI single. Every Crab now has been on base this evening. Just a little pop fly single. And that'll bring up Jason Newman. He'll let off the inning by reaching on an error. They say a leadoff error is a bad omen for things to come in the inning, and that's certainly what's happened as the Crabs now have plated across 6 runs and now have sent their 10th man to the plate here in Jason Newman. So Newman up. And the first pitch he takes is a slider on the outside corner for a strike, and it is 0-1. So Newman is 2 for 3. Errors do not count as hits, so that does count against him. 2 for 3, but does have 2 runs batted in and a run scored. Going on the pitch is going to be Outman, and he's going to be thrown out trying to steal. So Outman gets thrown out trying to steal a base, leaving Newman at the plate. So officially, it's only 9 guys at the plate. So they didn't really bat around, I guess, if you want to say that. But either way, the Crabs get 6 runs. 6 runs on, let's count them up, 4 hits. So 6 runs on 4 hits plus an error, and they leave a batter. Well, actually, they don't leave anyone because Outman was thrown out trying to steal. So no one left as we go to the top of the 5th inning. The Crabs have blown it open and lead Berkovich Gold Baseball by a score of 10-2. You're listening to Humble Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. And we go to the top of the 5th inning here at the Arcata Ballpark as the Crabs have taken a 10-2 lead over Berkovich as Ryan Ralston's still in the game. That's going to be a chopper to third. Picking that one up is Perry, throws over to first in time to take care of Naeem Knox, who led off the inning. So Naeem Knox, a quick 5-3 ground out, doesn't hang around too long, and that'll bring up Jake Cruz. So Cruz now stepping in. And the next pitch is off the plate, 1-0 the count to Jake Cruz. Cruz is 1 for 2. He singled and he struck out. One of 4 strikeout victims for Ryan Ralston today, and that pitch off the plate again in the dirt, 2-0. So the Crabs really have brought the offense, brought the bats today. 10 runs on 12 hits so far through 4 innings. As we now go to the top of the 5th, a fly ball into shallow center field, going back on it at first, and that's going to cost him as Mason Cirillo went back a couple of steps and then came in. And that cost him as that falls right in front of him for a base hit. So Cruz aboard with his second single of the game. Had Cirillo read that one off the bat, it looked like he would have had a chance to catch that one on the fly, but instead it's a single for Cruz, a one-out single, and Jackson Roberts now stepping in. And the next pitch, and it's in there for a strike, and it is 0-1. So Ralston caught the edge of the corner on the breaking ball. As Jackson Roberts, he's 0 for 1. He hit into a 6-4 4 split in the first inning, and he walked in the third. So 0 for 1 the count. That ball's in the dirt, goes to the backstop, and at second base is Jake Cruz. So a wild pitch by Ralston. That's his second wild pitch of the game so far. So a runner in scoring position for Jackson Roberts, but the Crabs have really taken all the worry out of runners being in scoring position at this point in the game. The next pitch is swung on and missed as Ralston really brought the heat on that one, and way behind that one was Jackson Roberts, 1-2, unable to catch up to it. So 1-2. And the next pitch is a bit low, and it is now 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck is going to be Ryan Propst, who drove in the only 2 runs that Berkovich has scored in this game. And the next pitch swung on and missed. Good pitch right there by Ryan Ralston. And down goes Roberts, and that's the second out, and that's the 5th strikeout of the game for Ryan Ralston. So Ryan Propst now stepping in. Propst is 1 for 2. He reached on an error in the second, had a 2 RBI single in the third, so he's been on base twice. And as a runner in scoring position to try to drive in. The pitch from Ralston, a fastball on the inside corner for a strike, and it is 0-1. So Ralston's kind of picked it up a bit in the last couple of innings. He was kind of a little over the place, much like Xavier Iglesias. Wasn't able to get his breaking ball to curve enough like he wanted it to, but has seemed to have improved as the game has gone along. The strike one pitch swung on and fouled back over onto F Street and out of play. Yeah, don't park alongside the ballpark if you're at a Crabs game, because there is potential for a dented hood or a broken windshield. Of course, HSU softball still owes me a new hood for after they dented it when I was doing their games a couple of years ago, but I've learned that the hard way, and the Crabs fans kind of have to as well here at the ballpark. Breaking ball, strike 3 called on the inside corner. Outstanding pitch. Propst doesn't like it very much, but that was a beautifully executed pitch, and that ends the inning. So the Berkovich Gold baseball team gets a runner to second, but nothing else, as they get no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 person left as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. It is the Humboldt Crabs 10, Berkovich 2. You're listening to Humboldt Crabs baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. And we go to the bottom of the 5th inning here at the Arcata Ballpark as the Crabs have taken a 10-2 lead. Humboldt Crabs baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE, brought to you by the California State and Federal Employees Credit Union. At California State and Federal Employees Credit Union, we are all local, all Humboldt, all the time. Humboldt's own CSF ECU, join us today. And they're also brought to you by Mad River Brewing Company. Mad River Brewing Company is proud to support Humboldt Crabs baseball. Steelhead Extra Pale Ale is always on tap, so grab one at the ballpark during the game or join us in sunny Blue Lake for a beer and fish and chips or a burger in the beer garden. We are open every day. So Newman says hello here in the bottom of the 5th inning as he leads off. Xavier Iglesias still in the game, I believe. Yes, he is still in the game, and he misses on the first pitch. It's 1-0. So 1-0 the count. And the next pitch, and it's in the dirt. And Newman ahead in the count now. It's 2-0. And Iglesias out of the next pitch, and it's grounded just foul down the third baseline, just foul. Was close to sneaking that one down into the corner again, and instead just foul. So 2 balls and a strike to Jason Newman, who was left at the plate because James Outman tried to steal up by 8 runs. Isn't that considered one of the unwritten rules of baseball? You don't steal with a lead, like a large lead, I should say. If it's 1 to 2 runs, I mean, yeah, you want to give yourself some breathing room, but that's considered a violation of the sacred unwritten rules, although I'm always not a fan of unwritten rules, so he can do what he wants, but he got thrown out. I am not a fan of written rules, you're right. That's a fly ball in the left field. Ryan Probst is there. And that is the first out, yeah. Calling me out on that one. Anyway, that's the first out, and that'll bring up Michael Perry. So Michael Perry is 1 for 2. He singled, walked, and flew out to right. So Perry up, and again, the leading slugger on the team by slugging percentage-wise. That's a one-hopper to short as Cruz up with it. Throw is going to get away from the first baseman, Jackson Roberts, and aboards first safely. It's going to be an error on Isaac Cruz, the shortstop, as that's the second time from the left side of the infield where a good throw, not even a good throw, just an adequate throw would have gotten the runner, but instead it goes wide, and a free base runner for the Crabs, and they're looking to see if they can take advantage of it once again. They took the leadoff error in the 4th inning and turned that one into 6 runs. Well, now they've got a 1-out free gift of a base runner, and they're trying to see what they can do with it here. So the 1-0 pitch and a breaking ball, and that's one of the few he's really hit his spots on. Although, again, it looked like more of a changeup because there wasn't a whole lot of break to it, but he did hit a spot, and it is 1-1. Let's count up how many walks that he's given up has Iglesias, and that's a big why the Crabs have an 8-run lead. So there's 4 walks he's given up, so 4 walks, and hit 2 batters, along with a wild pitch in a box. So he's kind of been all over the place, has Xavier Iglesias. And the Crabs more than willing to take advantage. The 2-1 pitch, and that's swung on and fouled back on F Street, and that evens the count at 2-2. So the Crabs total this season have walked 240 times. So they really have shown a lot of plate discipline much of the season. That's why they scored so many runs as a team. That's going to be a slow grounder to second. Picking that one up is Luke Huerta, and Huerta just able to get the lead runner at second, so a 4-6 force play as Newton grounds out. He replaces Michael Perry at first base, and that'll bring up Jacob Thurber. So Jacob Thurber up. Thurber is 2 for 3. He struck out, singled, and had a RBI double in that fourth inning. That 6-run fourth inning, he was a big contributor there. That pitch is going to be in the dirt, and Cruz keeps it in front of him. It's 1 ball and no strike the count to Thurber. As Cruz once again keeps the runner at first base. And with the exception of a couple, he has 2 wild pitches, does Xavier Iglesias. It really could be like, 4 or 5 at least wild pitches, but Jay Cruz has really done a great job in keeping everything in front of him behind home plate. The next pitch forces him out of his crouch, does Cruz again, 2-0. So 2 balls, no strikes, 2 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Crabs have an 8-run lead, 10-2. So 2-0. And the next pitch, and that's a strike, and it is 2 balls and 1 strike as Jacob Thurber taking all the way. So 2 balls and 1 strike, and that's swung on and missed. Really pulling the string on that changeup was Iglesias. And it seems to me that he's having more success just throwing a changeup than he is trying to throw a curveball, because the break has been the issue. And if he can place his changeup just as a changeup and mix it up with his fastball, I think he can have some more success. The 2-2 pitch swung on and missed as Thurber strikes out a second time. Strikes out a second time. Down he goes. And the inning is over. So Crabs get no runs, no hits. They do reach on an error, and they leave 1 as we go to the top of the 6th inning here at the Arcata Ballpark as the Crabs lead by 8, 10-2. You're listening to Humboldt Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. And the Crabgrass Band giving us some Proud Mary, their own version of Proud Mary, and really get the crowd up and out of their seats and really moving around at that. And really, again, the band just creates a great atmosphere here at the Arcata Ballpark as we go to the top of the 6th inning. The Crabs lead 10-2. And just a reminder, Crabs Baseball on AM 1480 KGOE brought to you by Harper Motors. Harper Motors is proud to be one of America's oldest automobile dealerships, established in 1912. They are a true family business. With every Crabs home run, Harper Ford will donate $50 to District 26 Little League. Man, with all the home runs, Harper Ford's going to be close to bankruptcy, it seems, with all the home runs the Crabs have hit this year. But Harper Ford donating $50 to the local Little League with every Crabs home run. And Austin Ragsdale going into his 6th inning of work. No, Matthew Hernandez, new pitcher. Matthew Hernandez in, and he gets the first pitch in for a strike, so a good start. Said Ragsdale again. It's Ryan Ralston. That's going to get me a bunch of the time. I don't know why. It's a similar sounding name. But anyway, Matthew Hernandez in for Ryan Ralston. And the next pitch is swung on and foul back, and it is 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Matthew Hernandez, after Ralston threw 5 innings, and the next pitch is swung on and grounded foul. It is 1-2. So, yeah, other than me mixing up Ralston and Ragsdale, Crabs have really had a good evening, good performance on. As Sam Weaver up with a 1-2 count. Weaver is 0 for 2. He struck out and flew out to center. As the 1-2 pitch swung on and missed on a pitch in the dirt. The out's going to have to be recorded at first as Thurber picks it up and throws out Weaver, and that's the first out. So first strikeout for Matthew Hernandez after Ralston got 5 strikeouts. So Ryan Ralston, 5 strikeouts in the game, and that's a 6th strikeout overall by the Crabs pitching staff today. As Sam Weaver goes down, Ant McDougal now stepping in. McDougal is 0 for 2, struck out twice, and looking to make contact for the first time tonight. And the first pitch, and it's in the dirt, ball 1, 1-0. We saw a drop beer. That's the biggest tragedy in the ballpark we've seen. A fan dropped a beer. It is a good time at the ballpark, however. Yeah, come on down. We've only got a week left here at the Arcata Ballpark. Not even a week, yeah. This is the last Tuesday. We'll be playing games through Sunday as the next pitch is low and outside, and it is 2 balls and no strikes. Yeah, they've got games tomorrow through Saturday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all at 7, and then a Sunday game at 2, and that's the semifinal. So if the Crabs win that semifinal for the Humboldt Invitational Tournament, that pitch in the dirt, ball 3, 3-0. If the Humboldt Crabs win on Sunday, they get to play a second game at 6 o'clock to end things off on a high note possibly, but they got to get through the Humboldt Invitational Tournament first after 2 games here with Berkovich Gold Baseball. So 3-0 the count after Matthew Hernandez struck out Sam Weaver to begin the inning. He's falling behind McDougal here. So it goes out to talk to his batter. So now they're going to switch out for some new clean baseballs. And I'm not sure, I'm guessing maybe it looks like they do here, have the same standard of baseballs that they have to have, meaning if it gets scuffed up a little bit, it's out of play. And the next pitch is right down the middle for a strike, 3-1. So yeah, it's much like the major leagues where the average pitch, sees 4 or 5 pitches maybe? And that's only if it's straight to the pitcher and catcher and back. Any contact otherwise is made, they get a new baseball. The 3-1 pitch is swung on and missed. Really pulling the string was Matthew Hernandez, and it is 3-2. So 3-2 after falling behind 3-0, he gets it right back to a full count. Hernandez into the wind. He kicks his leg in the pitch. Swung on and grounded foul toward the Crabs dugout, and we'll do it again at 3 balls and 2 strikes. On deck is Ryan Tom, the right fielder. And the 3-2 pitch swung on and missed, so give credit to Matthew Hernandez, really battling through that 3-0 count to make it 3-2, even fought through a couple of foul balls and was able to get the strikeout anyway. So second strikeout and as many batters for Matthew Hernandez here in relief in the 6th inning, and that'll bring up Ryan Tom. So Ant McDougal strikes out a 3rd time, and that'll bring up Ryan Tom. So the next pitch is a strike to Ryan Tom, and it is 0-1. So Tom with 2 out, no one on, trying to see if he can get something going for Berkovich, as they have been outpaced by the Crabs offense and then some tonight. 10 runs on 12 base hits for the Humboldt Crabs, and only 2 runs on 3 hits for Berkovich, as that's swung on and missed, and it's 1-2. So Matthew Hernandez, 1 strike away from striking out the side. How about that for a relief performance? The 1-2 pitch on the way. Swung on and grounded foul down the third base line. We'll do it again at 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strike, 2 out here in the top of the 6th inning. The Crabs lead by 8, 10-2. One ball, 2 strikes, and here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. It's going to get away from him, however. And advancing to first base safely is Ryan Tom on the strikeout wild pitch. What does give an opportunity for is the rare 4 strikeout inning. We've seen that very rarely at the major league level, but Matthew Hernandez has got a chance for it. Isaac Cruz now stepping in. So Tom advances to first on the strikeout plus wild pitch, and we'll explain the reasoning for that in just a moment after we get this first pitch into Isaac Cruz, as Hernandez out of the stretch, and he deals, and that's inside and low, ball 1 to 1-0. The reason that's allowed to happen. Now, of course, there's exceptions to this general philosophy. However, the general thinking behind the ability for a batter to advance to first on a strike 3 pitch in the dirt is that in baseball, the idea is that any out must be caught, as the next pitch is outside corner for a strike, throw down to first and not in time, and it is 1-1. But the general premise in baseball, all outs should be caught. Now, of course, there's some exceptions to that, but the premise is, strike 3 in the at-bat's over. But since the ball was not caught, they want to have the out made to be caught that way. Now, the next pitch is swung on, fouled away, and it's 1-2. So because the at-bat is over, but the ball wasn't caught, that's why the catch is required to throw down to first to complete the out. And if that doesn't happen, then the batter's allowed to advance safely. Now, of course, if first base is occupied, the runner at first is not obliged to have to go to second to create room. They'll just call the batter out immediately. But really, the premise is all outs should be caught, or at least as many as possible. That pitch, strike 3 call on the outside corner, so a 4 strikeout inning for Matthew Hernandez because of the wild pitch. So it's not enough just to say that Matthew Hernandez struck out the side. He struck out 4 batters after Ryan Tom, with 2 outs, struck out on a pitch that went to the backstop, advanced to first, and Isaac Cruz struck out for the 4th strikeout of the inning. Matthew Hernandez showing outstanding stuff here in this 6th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, a wild pitch strikeout, and a runner left as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. And the Crabs lead by 8, 10-2. You're listening to Humble Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. And we go to the bottom of the 6th inning here at the Arcata Ballpark. The Crabs lead by 8, 10-2. We've got Mason Cirillo leading things off here for the Crabs. And the first pitch outside 1-0. The next pitch on the way, and that is swung on and missed, and it is 1-1. Same pitcher in the game, right? By all accounts, yes. Okay, it is the same pitcher in the game. So Xavier Iglesias has given up 10 runs on 12 base hits. And the fact that Berkovich Baseball only brought 15 guys, for the road trip, as the next pitch is in the dirt, ball 2, 2 balls and a strike. So they've got their starting 10, And yes, we have the DH, so there's 10 starters. I don't like it, but that's the way baseball is going. As the next pitch swung on and fouled away. Professor Benjamin doesn't think the National League will ever cave in. I would like to think that. I really would, but I think Rob Manfred, the MLB commissioner, is going to use that as a bargaining chip for the players' union to give them, an extra higher salaried player on each team in the National League. But that's just, I hope it stays the pitcher bats in the National League. I think the American League should abolish the DH. That pitch is in the dirt, and the count goes full 3-2. But as I was saying, because of the DH, they actually have a starting 10, which goes against the premise of baseball having a starting 9, but the starting 10 plus 5 reserves. So 3-2, here's the pitch to Cirillo. Popped up, left side of the infield into foul ground. A trio of Berkovich players giving pursuit, and it's going to land out of play into the left field picnic area. And in my opinion, those are the best seats in the house. I mean, you get to bring your own chair, have your own blanket, got a bunch of space to spread out. Yeah, you got little kids running around behind you playing catch and stuff, but if you don't want to sit on the aluminum bleachers, bring your own chair and sit in the left field picnic area. It's a great view of the game, and in my opinion, the most comfortable, best seat in the house. And it's the same in price, the same $9 as it costs to sit in the bleachers. That ball swung on and missed by Cirillo. Down he goes. And that is the fourth strikeout of the game for Xavier Iglesias, and that'll bring up Mason Thielander. So Thielander up. Thielander is 1 for 1. He doubled and was hit by a pitch twice and scored 2 runs. So he's taken one for the team on a couple of occasions. But I'm sure he likes getting on base the old-fashioned way even more. No matter how slow it's hit, and he had one kind of go off the side of his helmet on a breaking ball, not a hard hit, a hard thrown ball, I should say, the last time up, but still off the side of his noggin nonetheless, and I'm sure he prefers not to have that happen to him. Strike called to Mason Thielander. It's 0-1. The next pitch, Iglesias, a wave and a miss as Thielander changed his mind mid-swing and was able to slow himself down, and it's 0-2. So 0-2, 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Crabs lead by 8, 10-2. Here's the pitch from Iglesias. Swung on, foul back, and out of play. And again, your heart always drops if you're parked around the ballpark on those foul balls. Yeah, give yourself a solid 100 yards or so away from the ballpark before you park anywhere, as your car is in danger at some point. Of course, I didn't learn that doing HSU softball. I had my hood dented on a couple of their foul balls at one point, so I learned the hard way not to park near a baseball or softball ballpark at all, but we do have cars all around here. That pitch is off the plate, 1-2. So park at your own peril is the lesson. The 1-2 pitch on the way, and that is outside, and the count goes even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck is the leadoff man, David Hamilton, so the top of the order after that. If anyone can get on base, we'll also see Brian Pozos, who's looking to continue on his perfect evening at the plate. The 2-2 pitch, Iglesias deals, and that's in the dirt, and that count goes full, 3-2. So 3-2, here's the pitch. That's a fly ball into center field. Knox has a beat on it, going back and looks up, makes the catch, and that's the second out. So a fly out to center. Thielander is retired, and that'll bring up the leadoff man, David Hamilton. Hamilton is 1 for 3 and has been on base twice, scored 2 runs and 2 RBIs. Had a 2 RBI double in the 4th inning. Otherwise, he popped to short in the 1st, walked and scored a run in the 2nd, and flew out to center in the 3rd. And Xavier Iglesias looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the game. And in fact, it would be the first 1-2-3 inning for either side as that pitch swung on and fouled back. The reason being is that Matthew Hernandez struck out the side the last inning, but one of those strikeouts was a wild pitch, and that allowed a 4th batter to come in. Otherwise, every other inning has had multiple batters, more than the minimum 3 for each team. Iglesias trying to change that right here, as that's a breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike, and it is no balls and 2 strikes. Brian Pozos on deck if Hamilton can extend things here in the bottom of the 6th. And the next pitch in the dirt, and it's ball 1 ball and 2 strikes. So David Hamilton, the kid out of Texas, the high school graduate out of Texas, not even starting college yet. And if you're interested in seeing him continue, if you have the Longhorn Network, several of his games will be on national TV because Texas and ESPN have their own network centered around the entire sports program at UT Austin. So Deuce is wild now, 2 balls, 2 strike, 2 out. No one on here in the bottom of the 6th, the pitch, and that's high and over the glove of Cruz, the catcher, and the count goes full 3-2. So David Hamilton was a 28th round draft pick by the LA Angels this past summer. That's going to be a fly ball down the left field line, and it's going to carry out of play. And the count remains 3-2. So David Hamilton was selected by the Angels. Again, it has a commitment to Texas. And being a 28th round pick, I imagine he's going to pass that up and hope to get himself drafted in a higher round, although he's going to have to wait 3 years. If you go to a 4-year college, you must wait 3 years past high school to re-enter the draft. That's going to be a chopper up the middle, and it's going to sneak its way. It's actually stopped, a diving stop by Isaac Cruz, but Hamilton running all the way is going to be no play for Cruz to make. So Hamilton with an infield single, his second hit of the game, and is now 2 for 4. And that'll bring up Brian Pozos looking to extend his perfect evening. So Pozos up, he is 3 for 3 with an RBI, 2-run score, 3 singles, as well as a scoring fly ball. The first pitch is going to be outside. It's 1-0. The count. Iglesias on the next pitch is in the dirt, goes to the backstop, and I don't know what Hamilton was doing. He could have gone to second base, but I guess up by 8, there's no reason to. But, I mean, I know you don't steal because of the unwritten rules, but is there anything in the unwritten rules that say you can't take advantage of a wild pitch by the other team? I mean, they're giving you a base. And I guess he just feels he doesn't need to take it. So anyway, the 2-0 pitch, and it's swung on and fouled back, and it's going to carry well behind us out of play. And it is now 2 balls and 1 strike. Got to imagine homeowners insurance for the houses around the ballpark got to be a little higher because of all the broken windows we've seen. I've seen a couple of houses, too, have, like, balls go through them. And that's when, with that last foul ball, seemed like it was going. And that's going to be a balk, another balk by Iglesias, his second balk of the game, and that's going to send Hamilton to second base. So something in his pitching motion, and the umpires correctly, or immediately at least, pointing it out. So 2-1. Here's the pitch to Pozos. In the dirt, it's going to go to the backstop, and this time Hamilton will take the free base. I mean, one time you'll say, okay, I'll let him have it, but the second time, I mean, you just got to take it. So Hamilton at third, a balk, and then a wild pitch puts him to third after his single. So 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Crabs lead by 8, 10-2, and they're looking to maybe extend it a little more if Pozos can get a base hit here. The next pitch, outside and low, ball 4. So Pozos continues his perfect evening. He's been on base 4 times, is 3 for 3, has an RBI, 2-run score, and a stolen base. An outstanding evening for Pozos. And it's now first and third now with 2 out, and James Outman stepping in. First pitch is in the dirt, ball 1-0. Well, the Giants lost today 13-8, but the Dodgers are really having an issue themselves in Colorado, losing 7-0 to the Rockies. So it looks as though the National League West standings will remain unchanged this evening. And the 1-0 pitch is in there for a strike, and it's now 1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, up here in Humboldt, we have a lot of Giant fans, a lot of Dodger fans, as well as fans of the Oakland A's, but the A's are kind of out of it. So really, the baseball attention at the major league level is being focused on the Giants and Dodgers, and what a race that's turning out to be. The 1-1 pitch swung on and missed by Outman. And going down to second is going to be Pozos. So no, that's going to be a pass ball ruling. So that's the second pass ball of the evening for Jake Cruz, although he's just had a lot to work with tonight. So really, the Crabs could have had a lot more advancement if Jake Cruz wasn't performing so well behind the plate. The 1-2 pitch, that's in the dirt, it's going to squirt behind Cruz, and coming in to score is going to be Hamilton. So a wild pitch brings in Hamilton, and the Crabs extend their lead to 9, 11-2. So deuce is wild, 2 balls, 2 strike, 2 out, runner at second. The next pitch, and Outman swings and misses. It's in the dirt. Out's going to have to be recorded at first, and they do get it. It was a low throw, but scooped out at first base by Jackson Roberts, and that ends the inning. So James Outman strikes out, and that ends the inning, but not before the Crabs able to get a run on a 1 hit, no errors plus a walk, and they leave 1 as we go to the top of the 7th inning here at the Arcata Ballpark. The Crabs lead Berkovich Gold Baseball by a score of 11-2. You're listening to Humboldt Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. We go to the top of the 7th inning here at the Arcata Ballpark. Crabs lead 11-2. Humboldt Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. Brought to you by Lost Coast Brewery. Take a brewery tour at the new Lost Coast Brewery's $27 million bottling facility. It is huge. Afterwards, taste the beer and check out the Lost Coast Brewery gear shop where you find t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, bottle openers, stickers, and of course beer. Kids are welcome. Tour schedule Friday to Sunday, 12, 1, 2, 3, and 4 p.m. That's off 1600 Sunset in Eureka. Crabs Baseball also brought to you by The Alibi. Now 2 locations open on the Arcata Plaza to serve you. Large breakfast menu and weekend specials. Crabs board member approved. Pub food, local microbrews, chicken wings, live music, and our breakfast menu is even better. When the Crabs play, beers are $1 off. And we're here in the top of the 7th inning. Crabs lead by 9, 11-2. And a strike from Jacob Gomez to lead things off for Luke Huerta, and that is 0-1. So Matthew Hernandez pitched about as well as you can. 4 strikeouts in 1 inning, as that pitch is a check swing is going to cost him a strike on a changeup, it looked like, and it is 0-2. You might ask, well, how do you get 4 strikeouts in an inning? Well, it's because one of them was a wild pitch, and if the ball's in the dirt on strike 3, the out must be caught, and since it went to the backstop and the runner Ryan Tom was able to advance, That allowed the inning to be extended, but then Hernandez came and struck out Isaac Cruz to end it. Huerta strikes out right there, so Jacob Gomez picking up where Hernandez left off. 5 consecutive. Actually, if you go back to the last 2 batters that Ryan Ralston faced, 7 consecutive strikeouts by Krabs pitching so far in the last 2 innings now. So 5 consecutive strikeouts over the last 2 innings plus. And the next pitch is in there for a strike, a breaking ball to Naeem Knox, and it is an even count, 1 ball and 1 strike. I didn't mention, and we'll mention it once before I get on to Jacob Gomez, but Matthew Hernandez is somewhat of a local boy after he struck out those 4 guys, swung on and missed, and that's now 1-2 the count. Hernandez, who pitched the last inning, somewhat of a local boy, comes from Fort Bragg, which, not that far as the crow flies, but a 3-hour drive on the windy Highway 1. But pitched well for San Francisco State did Hernandez, a 3.89 earned run average in 44 innings. And continued his excellent performance in that last inning, getting 4 strikeouts. Now Jacob Gomez in the game, and he's from Sierra College. The 2-2 pitch is outside, ball 3, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Gomez also comes from Fort Bragg, so we had 2 consecutive pitchers from Fort Bragg pitching here for the Krabs in consecutive innings. So they must be proud down there on the Mendocino coast, which I've been told I need to visit at one point. I heard it's an outstanding place to visit. That's a grounder over to second, picking it up as Pozos throws over to first in time to take care of Naeem Knox. And there is 2 down. So that ends the streak of 7 consecutive strikeouts by Krabs pitching, but still there's 2 out. 8 consecutive batters retired. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say 8 consecutive batters retired because Ryan Tom did advance on that strikeout wild pitch, so that broke that streak, but otherwise, still impressive by the Krabs pitching nonetheless. So Jake Cruz, the catcher, stepping in, and he's did all he could to keep everything in front of him as the first pitch is outside. It's 1-0. Jake Cruz, he's allowed some to get behind him, also has a couple of pass balls, but he has had to go all over the place as Xavier Iglesias has been all over the place as a pitcher as the 1-0 pitch is outside and it is 2-0. So Jacob Gomez looking to get the first inning retired in order by either side. Hasn't happened yet tonight. That's going to be popped up left side of the infield. Giving pursuit is Perry, and is going to actually go out of play. So 2 balls and 1 strike the count to Jake Cruz. So Gomez, after Matthew Hernandez, the 2 relievers from Fort Bragg, and I've been told the scenery on the Mendocino coast is absolutely breathtaking. Fort Bragg and Mendocino, those 2 towns right along Highway 1. And maybe on my way home to Southern California after the season, I might stop by there and just check it out because I've been told nothing but good things. And Hernandez and Gomez repping the Mendocino coast with pride, although that one does get away from him and as he hits Cruz. So we still have not had a 1-2-3 inning from either side, but the Krabs have really had far more extensive innings as they've gotten 11 runs on 13 hits, only 2 runs and 3 hits for Berkovich baseball. So Jackson Roberts now steps up, a runner on and 2 out after Jake Cruz gets hit by the pitch. And first pitch, Roberts promptly hits that one into center field, giving pursuit is Cirillo, and he really got a good jump on that one. That was heading for the gap, and Cirillo picked it up all the way, was able to track it down for the out, and that ends the inning. So no runs, no hits, no errors, a hit batter, 1 person left as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. 7th inning stretch time here at the Arcata Ballpark as the Krabs have a 9-run lead over Berkovich baseball, 11-2. You're listening to Humboldt Krabs baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. And we go to the bottom of the 7th inning here at the Arcata Ballpark. Humble Crabs Baseball on AM 1480 KGOE, brought to you by Eureka Rubber Stamp. The Eureka Rubber Stamp Company has been in business in Humboldt County since 1954. Locally owned and operated, manufacturing rubber stamps, engravings, vinyl signs, lanyards, novelty items, stencils, and more. New Memorial Rocks are now in stock, located at 520 F Street, Eureka. They are open 8:30 to 5:30 Monday through Friday. Eureka Rubber Stamp as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. New pitcher in the game for Berkovich Baseball as Jake Olofsson now stepping in. Jake Olofsson. After Xavier Iglesias pitched 6 innings and was really knocked around, allowing 11 runs on 13 base hits in those 6 innings, as Jason Newman steps up, takes the first pitch off the plate. It is 1-0. So it'll be Newman, Michael Perry, New Johnson due up for the Crabs here in the bottom of the 7th as they have a comfortable 9-run lead here. As Newman trying to add on to his fine performance not only tonight but for the entire summer. So Newman entered the game hitting .306. You got to imagine that average is going to go up. And the 2-0 pitch, and it's inside and low, ball 3-0. What's the attendance? So 691 folks here at the ballpark, just a little short of 700. It's a big crowd for a Tuesday night, and we encourage you to come to the ballpark tomorrow through Sunday, the last week of the regular season for the Humboldt Crabs. The 3-0 pitch, and it is outside, and ball 4, so Newman draws the leadoff walk. So Newman aboard with a leadoff walk, and that'll bring up Michael Perry. So Jake Olofsson doesn't have much success to start off the inning in his relief appearance here as he walks the leadoff batter. Michael Perry now stepping in. Perry is 1 for 4. No, 1 for 3. He is 1 for 3. As the next pitch is low in the dirt, ball 1-0. Perry singled in the first, walked in the second. Flew out to right field in the 4th and reached on an error in the 5th. So 1 for 3, but he has been on base 3 times. And has a runner at first to pick up. So Olofsson out of the stretch, he deals, and that's in there for a strike, and the count even now. 1 ball and 1 strike. Michael Perry leads the team in slugging, .634 entering the game, and it's probably going to go down a little bit tonight, but still not a bad performance in the plate or the field as it is. The next pitch is going to be on the outside corner for a strike, and it is 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Michael Cowan has been given that outside corner to each batter tonight. So I'm surprised the pitchers haven't tried to throw there a little more, although we've seen Ryan Ralston get a nice strikeout on the lower outer corner. The next pitch, and that's going to turn back away Michael Perry, and he's going to avoid hitting it. So breaking ball that did not really break inside like Olofsson wanted it to. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. So 2 and 2. And here's the pitch. Popped up. Right side of the infield, foul ground. Cruz giving pursuit and makes the catch for the first out. So Cruz catches as Michael Perry fouls out to the catcher, and there's 1 away. So 1 on, 1 out, New Johnson stepping in. Johnson is 1 for 3. He walked in the first inning, hit into a 6-4 force play in the second, had an RBI single, scored a run. We're going to have a pinch hitter, We're going to have a pinch hitter. Nick Warren going to bat in the spot of New Johnson. Anyway, we will say New Johnson did go 1 for 3. Walked in the first, forced play in the second. RBI single and scored a run in the 4th and hit into a 4-6 force play in the 5th, but Nick Warren batting in his spot. Warren out of Fresno State. We do have a new catcher. We haven't gotten the number on it yet, but Nick Warren into the game. The strike 1 pitch on the way from Olofsson, and that's low and outside. It's 1-1. Warren comes from Fresno State University. He was a .263 batter this most previous season with the Bulldogs. 20 hits and 76 at-bats, had 3 doubles, 9 RBIs. He's going to be into his redshirt junior year this coming season. Comes from Saugus High School. That ball is in the dirt and goes to the backstop. 3-1 the count. And we do have a new catcher into the game, C.J. Ibarra. So C.J. Ibarra in the spot defensively for Jake Cruz. So C.J. Ibarra in the game. So there's 4 wild pitches in the game, 5 walks, 2 hit batters, and 2 balks. 6 walks of the game, 6 walks in the game. And that just goes to show, really, what the Berkovich pitching staff has been tonight. That ball swung on and fouled away. And 2-2 the count to Nick Warren. Warren originally comes from Glendale in the LA area. He's a big fan of Hanley Ramirez, and especially with his time for the Dodgers, how fun was he to watch? Was a catcher all throughout high school and still throughout his college days. Was Defensive Player of the Year his senior year, and as a catcher, that's really impressive. That's probably the hardest position to play. He hit .406 his senior year of high school, and really continued that on into his college year. His redshirt freshman year had a .326 on base percentage and then hit .263 last year. And the next pitch off the plate, 3-2. Yeah, he hit .293 his redshirt freshman year and .263 his redshirt sophomore this most previous year, and looking to improve on that. And for the Crabs, let's take a look at his number for the Crabs. Warren hitting .289. The next pitch swung on and missed, so down he goes for the second out, yeah. And that'll bring up Jacob Thurber. So Warren strikes out, pinch hitting for New Johnson, and that'll bring up Jacob Thurber. Thurber is 2 for 4. He struck out twice, but is also singled and had an RBI double, scored a run. And the first pitch, and it's inside and low, ball 1 and 1-0. So C.J. Ibarra fighting out real quickly the challenge that Jake Cruz had behind the plate and keeping everything in front of him, as, again, the pitching staff for Berkovich baseball has been all over the place. And the next pitch on the way swung on, foul back and out of play. It's even 1 ball and 1 strike. If the inning can be extended, we'll also see Mason Cirillo, or we presume to see Mason Cirillo. Yes, he's still swinging on deck, so that could change, however, as with a 9-run lead later in the inning, or late innings, I should say, later in the game, would be a time to really empty out the bench. So the next pitch, the 1-1 pitch, is a fastball that stays a bit high, and it's 2-1. So Jacob Thurber, one of the several players we've enjoyed talking to after the game, and we'll have to see if we can get a player to come up and talk with us on the postgame. We will have our postgame. I will be pulling double duty and hosting the postgame show tonight as well. And we'll have a Crabs player on after the game, and as well as a recap and a preview of tomorrow. The next pitch is inside, and did it hit him officially, or are they going to say a walk? It did hit him. It was a 3-ball count anyway, so he would have taken first, but officially goes as a hit batter. So that puts runners at first and second with 2 out. Mason Cirillo up. Cirillo is 0 for 3. He struck out in the second, popped out, fouled to the catcher in the third, walked and scored a run in the fourth, and struck out in the sixth. First and second and 2 out. And the first pitch to Cirillo is a bit high, and it is 1-0. So Cirillo, followed by T-Lander. So the 2 Masons back-to-back in the order, but Cirillo does have to extend the inning and get on base in some way in order for T-Lander to see action in this inning. 1-0 pitch as that ball from Olofsson is dealt, and that's swung on and hit in the air, foul down the left field line, and it's going to carry out of play. So Olofsson, much like the pitchers, or the pitcher I should say, there's only one pitcher, and that was Xavier Iglesias. So much like Iglesias who preceded him, has not been able to have a 1-2-3 inning. And the Crabs more than happy to take advantage of that. So the 1-1 pitch, and that's inside. And it is 2 balls and 1 strike. So Cirillo teammates with Jacob Thurber at Washington State. And that's such a unique atmosphere in the Pac-12 too, Washington State, because Pullman, if you've ever been there or just familiar with it, is in the middle of nowhere. That ball is going to be flared into left field for a base hit, stopping at third. No need to send around Jason Newman with a 9-run lead. So Mason Cirillo joins the hit parade. His first base hit of the evening, and he's been on base now 2 times. And that'll bring up Mason Thielander. And that'll load the bases. So Newman at third, Thurber at second, Cirillo at first, 2 out. And Mason Thielander, I mean, the game's already blown wide open, but he's looking to make it a double-digit lead here if he can get a base hit. Or even a walk, actually, or a hit batter, or a wild pitch. It's a 9-run lead, and the bases are loaded. So Thielander up at Alaskan College, and the pitch is inside 1-0. Committed to go to Colorado State Pueblo, and if you're familiar with the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference and the Division II level of play, Colorado State Pueblo in many sports is incredibly competitive and has an outstanding athletic program. The 1-0 pitch is a bit outside, and it is 2 balls and no strikes. I'd say if Humboldt State had a baseball team, he might come back here, but of course they don't. Humboldt State, of course, at the Division II level, so they might run into Colorado State Pueblo in other sports, but not baseball. The 2-0 pitch, and it is outside. It's 3-0. So, yeah, no baseball team at Humboldt State. That's why the softball team really is the flagship program of the spring, and I had a chance to do their games for a couple of years and couldn't have asked for a better team to cover, and here with the Crabs, same way. Couldn't have asked for better baseball as Humboldt for baseball and softball as that pitch is outside, ball 4. And Thielander walks in to make it a 10-run lead. So 12-2 in favor of the Crabs after Thielander walks it with the bases loaded, and that brings in the next run. Newman scores. And David Hamilton stepping in. So, yeah, from the beginning of February all the way, there's about, a 2-3 week gap, depending on how long the softball team goes in the postseason. The pitch is outside and high. It's 1-0. But from the beginning of February to basically the beginning of August, Humboldt County has high-quality softball and baseball for people to come out and attend. And the next pitch is inside 2-0. And with HSU softball, I mean, they play in the postseason every year, so you got to count on a couple weeks in May that their season extends to, and then after that, it's only, a 2-3 week gap until Crabs baseball starts. So if you're a baseball softball fan and you want to see high-quality action, Humboldt County is the place to be, as there's going to be a pitching meeting on the mound, and we'll take that time to thank some of our sponsors, Patty Stokeham and Remax Realty. Crabs sponsor and supporter for more than 20 years. Patty Stokeham, Remax Realty. They've supported the Crabs for 20 years. Patty has been selling real estate for just as long. She'll handle all the legwork for you and cover all the bases. Give her a call today at 707-496-3295. Find her on Myrtle Avenue in Eureka. And we'd like to thank all of the Crabs sponsors, as they're a large reason why we get to play these games every summer and have great entertainment here in Arcata for a solid 10 weeks of action, it seems. That's a strike right there, and it's 2-1. And our sponsors and our fans are the big reasons we're able to do that. The 2-1 pitch, and that's a fly ball into deep right field. Going back on that one is Ryan Tom. Looks up, it's off the wall. 2 runs will score. They're going to wave the third one in, and he's going to score as well. As Cirillo and T-Lander all score on the 3 RBI double by David Hamilton, and it's now 15-2 in favor of the Crabs. So David Hamilton started off a little slow tonight, but it's really shown his offensive might his last 3 at-bats with 2 doubles, 5 runs batted in on the night for David Hamilton. And that'll bring up Brian Pozos, who's still looking to continue his perfect evening at the plate. 15-2 in favor of the Crabs. That's a strike on the inside corner. It's 0-1. So Pozos on the day is 3 for 3, has scored 2 runs. That's a pitch is a bit low. It's 1-1. 3 for 3, has scored 2 runs, has 1 RBI, as well as a stolen base. He's also walked, been on base 4 times. The 1-1 pitch, and that is swung on and missed on a pitch low and outside. It's 1-2. So all with 2 outs, 4 runs have scored in this inning for the Crabs. One ball, 2 strike, 2 out. And the next pitch is outside. And that extends it. So Deuce is wild again. 2 balls, 2 strike, 2 out. Runner on second here in the bottom of the 7th inning. As 4 runs have come across for the Crabs, they lead 15-2. As Jake Olofsson not faring much better than his predecessor, Xavier Iglesias. The 2-2 pitch is outside and low, and it's a full count now, 3-2. On deck is James Outman. And I believe, yep, every Crab in the lineup has had a base hit today. And 7 of the 9 guys in the lineup have scored a run. The 3-2 pitch is high, ball 4, so Brian Pozos still has his perfect evening. He's been on base now 5 times. And he's had 7 plate appearances. 6 plate appearances, 6 plate appearances. And he's been on base in 5 of them. So Jason Alexander, the pitcher, is going to pinch hit for James Outman. So he's getting his chance to take some hacks here. And the first pitch is a bit outside, ball 1, 1-0. So Jason Alexander getting, let's see if he's had any, I don't think he's had any appearances as a batter.
Yeah, he's had 1.
He has had 1 appearance, and he's going to hit a grounder over to second, picking it up and throwing to first is Huerta for the 3rd out, and the inning is over. So Jason Alexander steps up as a pinch hitter, grounds out, and that ends the inning. So the Crabs get 4 runs on 2 base hits, no errors. They had 3 walks and a hit batter, and they leave 2 as we go to the top of the 8th inning, and the Crabs lead by 13, 15-2. You're listening to Humble Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. Zach Stone's going to come into the game for the Humboldt Crabs, the third reliever the Crabs have sent in today, looking to continue the success in limiting Berkovich's offensive opportunities, although none of the times Berkovich has been up to the plate have they been retired in order. The closest the Crabs got to that, Matthew Hernandez struck out 4 batters in the 6th inning, and that's because one of the pitches on strike 3 got away from the catcher, Jacob Thurber, and as a result, the runner was allowed to reach first base. But then what did Hernandez do? Came back and struck out another batter to make it 4, so as close as he can get with retiring the side in order and getting 4 strikeouts. Otherwise, Berkovich has had some of their opportunities, but they just have not been able to take advantage of them. So we're now in the top of the 8th inning as Ryan Probst up now. And Probst on the first pitch, it's a strike from zone, and it's 0-1. Probst is 1 for 3, reached on an error, had a 2 RBI single. That's the only 2 runs Berkovich has gotten today. That's swung on and missed, and it's now 0-2. He also struck out in the 5th inning. So 0-2 the count. And this relief corps for Humboldt's really been outstanding so far tonight, and much of the season, honestly. The next pitch is outside 1-2. Taking a look at some of these ERAs among relievers. I mean, Ryan Ralston, who started today, and that's swung on and missed, and that's a strikeout for Ryan Probst. And there's 1 away. And that'll bring up Sam Weaver. Weaver is 0 for 3, striking out twice. Struck out in the 2nd, flew out to center in the 3rd, and struck out in the 6th. But Ryan Ralston came in, 2.7 ERA mostly in relief. That's swung on and missed, and it's 0-1. Austin Ragsdale, mostly in relief. Actually, all in relief. 1.21 ERA. Zach Stone, who's on the mound right now, 1.1 earned run average. Ryan Smith, 0.86 ERA, and Riley Sweeney has not allowed an earned run yet. So this Humboldt bullpen has been outstanding. That's strike 3 call on the outside corner. Zach Stone throwing BBs out there right now. And that'll bring up Ant McDougal. And McDougal has struck out 3 times already, 0 for 3. So he's trying to avoid striking out a 4th time, but with the way Zach Stone is pitching, that's going to be very difficult. The Crabs combined ERA, now this counts starters, relievers, everyone, 3.01 this season. And the next pitch grounded foul down the left field line, and it is 0-1. So 0-1 the count. And here's the pitch, and it is a bit outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1 pitch is in there for some beautiful breaking ball. Man, that was a knee bender right there. And it was 1-2 now. So Zach Stone, we've seen him do this before, and he's doing it again. Breaking ball just inside. Wow, that was close. I was ready to say strike 3, but not quite. Michael Cowan saying just inside. But man, what a good pitch that was. The next pitch on the way. Swung on and missed, and Zach Stone comes in and strikes out the side as McDougal strikes out for the 4th time, so he gets the proverbial golden sombrero, does McDougal, striking out 4 times, going 0 for 4, and Zach Stone, a big part of that one in this at-bat at least, as he strikes out the side in the top of the 8th. So no runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. The first time Berkovich has been retired in order all evening as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Crabs lead 15-2. You're listening to Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. Crab Gas Band once again providing outstanding musical entertainment here at the ballpark, really adding to the atmosphere. But really, how much more do you need when the Crabs are winning by 13 runs in the bottom of the 8th as we go to the bottom of the 8th? 15-2 is the Crabs' lead, and really started scoring in the first inning and just didn't look back, as the Crabs have scored a run in all but the third inning. All but the third and the fifth inning, excuse me. So they've otherwise scored in 5 other innings, and that first pitch to Jason Newman is in the dirt, and it is 1-0. So Jason Newman, and Newman is 2 for 4. Yes, 2 for 4, and has scored 2 runs, 2 RBIs. RBI singles each in the first and second inning. In the fourth inning, he reached on an error and was able to come around and score a run. Flew out to left in the fifth inning, walked and scored a run in the seventh. And the next pitch is in the dirt and ball 3. So really, much like we've seen from the previous 2 pitches, we have a new pitcher in the game, and I didn't mention that. We do have a new pitcher into the game as Carlos Garcia follows Jake Olofsson and then the starter Xavier Iglesias, who each really got knocked around, and that pitch is in the dirt, ball 4. So Jason Newman aboard with a leadoff walk here, and he's been on base now 5 times. So we've had 2 Crabs players reach base 5 times today. And now Michael Perry stepping in. Perry is 1 for 4, along with a walk. Been on base 3 times as he reached on an error also in the 5th. Single in the 1st, walked in the 2nd, flew out to right in the 4th, reached on an error in the 5th, and popped out foul to the catcher in the 7th inning. And the next pitch on the way, and that's a strike as Carlos Garcia gets it in there. It is 1-1. So 1-1 the count. Next pitch on the way, and it is in the dirt. 2-1 the count. As Michael Perry, I mean, it's the bottom of the 8th, and you're up by 13. I mean, what more can you do than what you already have? But the Crabs seem to have a scoring opportunity if they continue what they've been doing much of the game. The 2-1 pitch is in the dirt, and it's going to go to the backstop, and it's 3-1, so it seems as though the Crabs looking to add more to it. 3-1 the count. So 3 balls, 1 strike. As Michael Perry up trying to add on to his batting line today. The 3-1 pitch inside, ball 4, the second walk of the inning. As Carlos Garcia walks to the first 2 batters he faces. And there's 2 on now and nobody out, and that'll bring up, it's going to be Nick Warren. Yes, it is Nick Warren. He pinch hit for Newt Johnson and is staying in the game as a designated hitter. So Warren up. First pitch swinging promptly, hits it foul down the right field line. Giving pursuit is going to be Roberts, and Jackson Roberts has it go behind the fence adjacent to the first base line and out of play. It's 0-1. Hard to believe we're only got, 5 days left of the Crabs season after this. I mean, it just flew by. I mean, as I've been saying, softball and baseball in Humboldt County since the beginning of February has just been outstanding. And to see the Crabs finish on a high note would just be the icing on the cake. I mean, we saw HSU softball make it to the national finals, and I got to go to Denver to watch that happen and support our girls. It was a lot of fun. Also, downtown Denver's a fun city. And then here in Humboldt at the Crabs, they have had an outstanding 28-15 record. And looking to make it, they are going to make it 29-15 at this point. So really, what baseball and softball in Humboldt County, and it's all going to come to an end in the next 5 days or so. I mean, what more can you say entertaining-wise and the quality of talent we have seen? And the 1-1 pitch is on the outside corner for a strike, and it is 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strike, nobody out. Fans really starting to file out. I mean, who wouldn't want to stay for a thrilling 15-2 ball game? The 1-2 pitch is outside of the low. It's 2-2. So 2-2. And the next pitch, just a bit low. Count goes full 3-2, so he's had a 3-ball count to every batter he's faced. He's walked the first 2 as Carlos Garcia. And he's just trying to get out of this as well as the rest of the Berkovich baseball team. They just got their pitching staff tattooed today. And the 3-2 pitch, ball 4, so he walks the bases loaded, does Carlos Garcia. And since Garcia is the 3rd pitcher of the game, I can't imagine they have anyone besides their starter available because they've only brought 15 guys total up to Arcata. They had their 10 guys starting today, including the starting pitcher, and then they had 5 reserves otherwise. And I can't imagine they have any more pitchers to use besides the guy that they have starting tomorrow. They don't want to use him, obviously, so I got to imagine Carlos Garcia is going to be in for the duration. And they just have to live with the results he gives them. The first pitch to Jacob Thurber swung on and fouled back, and it is 0-1. So Thurber up, and Mason Cirillo, his Wazoo Cougar teammate, is on deck. I heard that just such an incredible atmosphere for especially football and as well as baseball and basketball up in Pullman, because if you've ever been up there or familiar with the area, Pullman's in the middle of nowhere, right along the Idaho border. And to a larger extent, because it's a bigger school than Humboldt State is, it's really the center of town, like Humboldt State's kind of the center of Arcata. But Washington State has, 20, 30,000 students compared to 8,000 for Humboldt State. That ball is going to be lined into center field. Coming up is going to be Knox to make the catch, and the runners hold. Yeah, no need to tag up and score up by 13, so they're just going to let the flyout be the flyout. As Naeem Knox made the catch, and that's the first out. So Mason Cirillo now stepping in. So Cirillo on the day is 1 for 4. Struck out, popped out, fouled the catcher, walked and scored a run, struck out and singled and scored a run. The first pitch fouled back into the screen, and it's 0-1. So 0-1 the count. And timeout called by Michael Cowan. Not sure who asked for it, but he ran out and toward the left field side and then came back. So either way, we're back to resume. And the next pitch is a bit outside and low. It's 1-1. So 1 ball, 1 strike, and here's the pitch. And it's inside and low, 2 balls and a strike. The Crabs and Berkovich in a 15-2 ball game, bottom of the 8th inning, and they're going to be back at it again tomorrow evening. The last regular season game for the Crabs, the 2-1 pitch is swung on and missed, and that evens things up at 2-2. Tomorrow versus Berkovich, the last regular season game, and then Thursday through Sunday is the Humboldt Invitational Tournament. The Crabs will be playing in the 7 p.m. game Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and the 2 p.m. semifinal game on Sunday. And if they win on Sunday, they'll also play at 6. And that tournament will also feature the Solano Mudcats, the Auburn Wildcats, and the Alameda Merchants. 3 teams we're all very familiar with here at the Arcata Ballpark. So 3-2 the count now to Mason Cirillo. And the next pitch swung on and missed, so Cirillo goes down on strikes. That's the 3rd time he has struck out today, and that'll bring up Mason Thielander. So Thielander up. Thielander 1 for 2, and he promptly lines that one into right center field for a base hit. Going over to cut it off is Knox, but not before 2 runs come in to score as Newman and Perry cross the plate, and it's now 17-2 in favor of the Crabs on the 2 RBI single by Mason Thielander. So 17-2 in favor of the Crabs, and back to the top of the order we go to David Hamilton, who his last 3 at-bats have all been incredibly successful as he has base hits in each of the last 3. Overall, he is 3 for 4 and has been on base 4 times as the first pitch is a bit high, and it's 1-0. So the 1-0 pitch swung on and fouled back and carries out of play, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. So 1-1. As David Hamilton seems like he's just having a lot of fun down there and looking to continue his outstanding hitting performance tonight as the 1-1 pitch is on the outside corner for a strike, and it's 1-2, but up by 15. How much more can you do than you already have? And he is responsible for driving in 5 of those 17 runs and has scored 3 of them. So 8 of the 17 runs are partially responsible by David Hamilton. So the next pitch, a bit inside. So deuce is wild now. 2 balls, 2 strike, 2 out, 2 on, 2 in here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 17-2 in favor of the Crabs. And the next pitch, that's going to be lined up the middle for a base hit. And they're going to hold Warren, at third. So Warren goes to third. Going to second is Thielander. So station to station they go. As Hamilton with another base hit. He's been on base now 5 times in 7 plate appearances. Overall is 4 for 6, along with a walk. So Brian Pozo stepping in, and he has a perfect evening at the plate. Has 3 singles, hit a scoring fly ball, walked twice. Also has 2 runs scored and a stolen base, plus the RBI off that scoring fly ball. The first pitch, and that's a strike on the upper part of the plate, and it's 0-1. So 17-2, as the Crabs they just have been relentless and have not taken the foot off the gas pedal. As the strike 1 pitch, taking something off that one is Garcia, and it's 0-2. Had a little dip to it, so we'll call it a breaking ball. No balls, 2 strike, 2 out in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Crabs up by 15, 17-2. And the next pitch from Garcia, low and outside, it's 1-2. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Garcia set at the chest. Out of the stretch, and here's his pitch. Swung on and missed. So there goes Brian Pozo's perfect day at the plate. I guess it's a matter of time before he'd have a negative mark on his batting line, but there it happens as he strikes out, and that ends the inning. But not before the Crabs add on 2 more runs on 2 base hits. There were no errors, plus 3 walks, and 3 people left as we go to the top of the 9th inning. The Crabs lead Berkovich Baseball by a score of 17-2. You're listening to Humble Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. Humboldt Crabs Baseball on AM 1480 KGOE, brought to you by True Motion Fitness, a unique approach to movement health focused on building stronger, balanced, and stable use so that you can move through life and desired activities with greater enjoyment and efficiency. True Motion Fitness is located at 901 O Street, Arcata, California, and they can be reached at 707-822-3018 as we go to the top of the ninth inning. Strike one called to Ryan Tom, the right fielder, and the next pitch on the way. And it is swung on and fouled back, and it is 0-2. So Ryan Tom is 0 for 3. Flew out to center. He grounded to first, and he struck out. But he did advance on the wild pitch, and that's why Matthew Hernandez was able to get a 4-strikeout inning. The next pitch swung on and fouled back, and it's still going to be 0-2. Zach Stone still in the ballgame for the Crabs, and I mean, what more can you say about his ability to close down games? And that is a role he has thrived in. He has an 0-1 record, but that's in 13 appearances, and has 2 saves on the season. As the next pitch looks like a little outside, 1-2. But Stone, a 1.1 earned run average, has allowed only 11 base hits in those 16 and third innings, and has 18 strikeouts and just 6 walks. That's going to be a grounder over to second, and making the throw over to first in time as Pozos, and that is the first out. So one away here in the top of the ninth, and that'll bring up Isaac Cruz. So Zach Stone, just a little bit over 1 base runner per inning pitch, so his whip is a little over 1. The first pitch is a bit off the plate, and it's 1-0. So 11 base hits and 6 walks, but he has 18 strikeouts this season. So a 3-1 strikeout to walk ratio. That ball swung on and missed, and that's actually not including tonight's stats. So instead of 18-6, it's 21-6, as that's a 1-1 count, and the next pitch swung on and fouled back, and it's going to carry down the right field line, and out of play, it's 1-2. So 1 ball, 2 strike, 1 out to to Isaac Cruz, the shortstop. It'll be back to the top of the order to Luke Huerta. The next pitch on the way, swung on and missed, so 4th strikeout of the game for Zach Stone. And that'll bring up the leadoff batter, Luke Huerta. Huerta's 0 for 4. Popped out to first base twice. He grounded to short, and he struck out. And the first pitch to Huerta is going to be a bit, actually catches the outside corner for a strike, and it is 0-1. If Luke Huerta can extend the game, we'll also see Naeem Knox, and he swings, fouls that one back, and it's going to carry out of play. And now the Berkovich Gold baseball team down to their last strike. Although the game has ceased to be in doubt quite a while ago. So this, albeit a formality, the strike 2 pitch, strike 3 call on the outside corner, and that'll do it. Zach Stone strikes out 5 of the 6 batters he faced in the final 2 innings he pitched in to set down the Berkovich Gold baseball team in order, and he helps complete the victory. The Crabs win by a score of 17-2. 17 runs, 17 hits, 1 error for the Crabs, 2 runs, only 3 base hits, and 2 errors for Berkovich. We will have a short little post-game show where we'll be interviewing a Crabs player. So, Tristan, we're going to have a 3-minute break coming up. So, a post-game show coming up, we'll be interviewing a player. Hopefully, we're hoping Brian Pozos can come up and talk to us, but we'll see who it is. So, we're not promising who it is, but we're hoping for Brian Pozos, as we'll have him on the air. We'll also recap the game and preview the game tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow, the last regular season game, hard to believe it, of the 2016 season for the Humboldt Crabs, and it just flew by for all of us, as it's just so much fun, and we enjoy ourselves in the ballpark so much, and as do the fans and everyone like that. So these are some of our last chances to see the Crabs here in 2016. So we'll take a break. We'll have the post-game show coming up, and we'll we'll see Brian Pozos possibly, as well as recap the game and preview tomorrow. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Humboldt Crabs Baseball here on AM 1480 KGOE. And welcome back to the Arcata Ballpark, where the Humboldt Crabs really bring on the offensive might as they beat the Berkovich baseball team by a score of 17-2. As they really scored to begin the game, it just didn't look back. They got a run in the first inning, so it was just 1-0, but then they added on 3 in the second to make it 4-0. In the third inning, Berkovich got their only 2 runs of the game, so it's 4-2 at that time. It looked like they might do something to make the game close and competitive, but in the 5th inning, the Crabs really broke the game wide open, scoring 6 runs, so that made it 10-2. At the end of the 4th inning, they'd add on a run in the 6th inning to make it 11-2, 4 in the 7th, and then 2 in the 8th. And when all is said and done, 17-2 was the Crabs score over Berkovich baseball. 17 runs, 17 base hits, 1 error for the Crabs, 2 runs, 3 hits, and 2 errors for Berkovich. Taking a look at the Crabs' offensive performers tonight, I mean, everyone in the lineup, in the starting lineup, I should say, got a base hit. David Hamilton went 4 for 6 with 5 RBIs and 3 runs scored, and it continues to get better. Brian Pozos 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. James Outman 1 for 5 with 2 RBIs. Jason Newman 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs scored. Michael Perry 1 for 4 with a run scored. Newt Johnson 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run scored. Jacob Thurber 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. And Mason Cirillo 1 for 5 with 2 runs scored. Mason Thielander 2 for 3, 3 RBIs and 3 runs scored. And that's how you add up 17 runs on 17 base hits. As far as the Berkovich Gold baseball team is concerned, it was a struggle for them to really get anything going offensively, and give credit to the Crabs pitchers for doing that. As the Crabs pitching staff again shut him down. Jake Cruz, the catcher, and we're going to say his offensive numbers. He went 2 for 3, but man, he really had a tough assignment tonight, and we want to give him credit for keeping the effort at 100% throughout the game, because he constantly had to get out of his crouch, whether it was to the side, above, getting low. He had to keep so many balls that were going to the backstop in front of him, and for the most part he did. He did have a couple of pass balls, but again, when you're just so busy doing that, that might happen. Also, I believe 5 wild pitches tonight by Berkovich pitching, and it was 4 wild pitches, 4 wild pitches, and 2 pass balls by Cruz, but it could have been a lot more base runners advancing on the Crabs if Jacob Cruz was unable to keep as many balls in front of them as he did. So, again, give credit to him. He went 2 for 3, so really, all around, he's probably their best player today was Jake Cruz, and gave in all the effort throughout. Ryan Probst also went 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs, and that's it. 2 guys with 3 of the hits. And that's all the offense that we saw from Berkovich so far this evening. So they're looking to just regroup and bounce back. We often hear the Crabs say after the game, and we were hoping maybe to get Brian Pozos or someone up after the game, but it didn't seem like anyone has decided to come and join us. So, Tristan, I think this will be our only segment because of that. I don't see anyone coming up, so unless we get a visit from Brian Pozos or another Crabs player. I was hoping to get his take on the game. He played so well, I should say. He didn't pitch. He batted, but up until his last at-bat, he had a perfect night at the plate. He'd been on base 5 times. Also, he's going to a new college, Chico State. We were hoping to ask about him, but I guess he didn't make his way up here. And no one else came in his stead either. So it looks like this is going to be the last segment. So as that is, we'll say one more time, Jake Cruz, outstanding job behind the plate for Berkovich, going 2 for 3 and just doing all he can to keep the wild pitching staff of Berkovich from allowing too many Crabs base runners to advance, but it was just too much. The Crabs offense was just too much, and the pitching was just too inconsistent on the part of Berkovich in order for them to really have much success today, as taking a look at the pitching numbers, and we went through the offense, so here's the pitching numbers. Xavier Iglesias takes the loss and really got knocked around, gave up 6 runs, or not 6 runs, pitched 6 innings, allowed 11 runs, 8 of them earned on 13 hits along with 5 strikeouts, but man, he walked 5 guys, and that really was the issue tonight, was all the walks and free passes that the Crabs got. He also hit 2 batters as well, so 7 free base runners just on the part of Xavier Iglesias, and the Crabs more than willing to take advantage of it. Jake Olofsson came in, pitched an inning, allowed 4 runs, all of them earned on 2 base hits with 3 walks and a strikeout. And Carlos Garcia, an inning, pitched the 8th inning, allowing 2 runs, both earned on 2 hits with 2 strikeouts and 3 walks. When you add it all up, 11 walks and 2 hit batters, so 13 free base runners. You could say even 15 free base runners if you want to include the 2 errors that Berkovich committed tonight. So when you add all that up, that's 3 runs. If you just string them all together, 3 runs, plus you're 3/4 of the way to a 4th run just off free bases. Nothing else, no hits or anything like that, just off those free bases. And the Crabs were willing to get a lot more than that, and they got 17 overall on the evening. Taking a look at the Crabs pitching staff, and on a couple of occasions, I call him Austin Ragsdale. Ralston Ragsdale kind of sounds similar, and I had been saying Ralston's name a bunch of times before the game, and for some reason on a couple of occasions Ragsdale came out, but it was Ryan Ralston who pitched for the Crabs today and got the win, going 5 innings, allowing 2 runs, both earned on 3 hits with 6 strikeouts. Did have a little command issues with 4 walks, but didn't allow him to hurt him too much. Matthew Hernandez, and Hernandez had the rare 4 strikeout inning. And you'll be like, well, how do you get a 4 strikeout inning? Well, that's because on the 3rd batter of the inning, and that 3rd batter of the inning was Ryan Tom. After Hernandez had struck out the previous 2 batters, Tom swung at and missed on a pitch in the dirt, but it skipped to the backstop, and by the time Jacob Thurber, the catcher, was able to get to it, he had no chance to throw to first, and advancing was Ryan Tom because, again, in the premise in baseball, all outs should be caught, or at least as much as possible. And since it's strike 3, the at-bat's over, the runner's free to try to see what he can do with a live ball, and in that instance, Ryan Tom was able to make it to first, and that made it 3 strikeouts in the inning, and that gave the opportunity for Hernandez to get strikeout number 4. He did just that, getting a strike 3 call on the outside corner to the shortstop Isaac Cruz to end the inning, to make it a 4 strikeout inning, as Matthew Hernandez, an outstanding game in relief. Jacob Gomez, and Matthew Hernandez, Jacob Gomez, both Fort Bragg products, and really made everyone from the Mendocino Coast proud, each with a scoreless inning. Hernandez had a no-hit inning, as did Gomez. Each allowed 1 base runner. One was off a wild pitch on a strikeout. The other, from Jake Gomez, was on a hit batter. Otherwise, they didn't allow anything. And then Zach Stone, once again, sealing the deal for the Crabs, shutting the door, as you may, going 2 innings, 8th and 9th inning. Perfect 2 innings, as he had 5 strikeouts and nothing else allowed. So, an outstanding performance by the Crabs this evening. Well, that'll do it for us. I'd like to thank everyone with Berkovich and everyone with the Humboldt Crabs, as they're able to give us some good information and helpful as always. And I'd like to thank our board operator, Tristan Landay, and of course we'd like to give him a special congratulations. He and his girlfriend just welcomed a bouncing baby girl into the world. Her name is Nova, so congratulations to the couple on their newborn baby girl from all of us here at the Crabs. So congratulations to Tristan, and enjoy your handful when you go home tonight. So speaking for everyone, this is Kevin Wyatt saying so long from the Arcata Ballpark, where the Crabs beat Berkovich baseball by a score of 17-2. Our next broadcast will be tomorrow. The Crabs welcome Berkovich in for the second of a 2-game series, and it is the last regular season home game. It's a 7 o'clock game, so make your way out to the ballpark. The last regular season home game. And then we have the Humboldt Invitational Tournament coming up, as the Crabs will play at 7 o'clock on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Crabs will open up against the Solano Mudcats Thursday, against the Alameda Merchants on Friday, against the Auburn Wildcats on Saturday, and depending on how all four of the teams do, they'll be seeded into 2 semifinals at 10 and 2. The Crabs guaranteed to play at 2 regardless of seed. And the winner of those 2 semifinal games will meet in the 6 o'clock championship game on Sunday. Lots of exciting baseball ahead. And until next time, have a very pleasant good evening, everybody.